Two, one. Good morning, everybody. This is Larry Locken with Pleiadian Express Productions. Sorry, it's been a long night. I'm here today with Jane Hermstad and with Jason.
Yay!
Yay! Hi, gang. How you doing? These two are admins, along with myself, in Leah Shapiro's group, the Pleiadians. And we thought we'd just kind of have a roundtable talk today, throw around some ideas, and discuss the future now moments for the Pleiadian community and now future moments. And Jason, how are you? And Jane, how are you?
Ladies first.
Okay, I'm good. I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Of course, this is yours too. This is all our collective group. Okay.
Absolutely, and you always need a ladies' touch. If you're gonna do it right, there always needs to be a ladies' touch.
Huh. Jane, could you hear Jason there?
No, it takes.
What? You can't hear?
There he is.
Yeah.
Okay. I said in anything that you do, ladies' touch.
Something with the sound, I think.
A woman's touch.
Yep, a ladies' touch.
We're just going to roll with it because we've had issues with it all the time. We've got each other's back, and we're just going to continue the discussion. And so, Jason, so what do you think about the future of what do you think about some of the things that we need to really start looking at as far as moving this thing forward?
Well, that's I'm hoping that my voice is
Oh, wow.
Larry? Vaguely.
Yes, bro, I'm here. Yes, what?
What did Jane just say?
She said, you know what? I don't even know. She said she heard you, or what did you say, Jane?
Yeah, vaguely.
Vaguely.
Sometimes, on and off. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I am having some.
Yes, us Pleiadians have lots of patience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is but you know what? This is cool. This is entertaining.
I can hear you.
You can hear me, I know.
But Jason, where are you?
He's there, honey. He's here. We've been dealing with this all morning long. It's really weird. I think he's with the hashtag command. What's going on?
No. Because I'm here.
He's trying to pirate a small YouTube channel.
Sure, I'm having coffee.
Jane, was that the first time you've ever talked to Jason voice to voice, actually?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I heard him with you on air, but I've never talked to him before. No.
Well, no, and apparently you're not right now either. I'm just joking. He's been dealing with. I think he's put on Skype. He's uninstalled Skype. He's got on Google a million times. Yeah, he's done more IT work in a day than most IT people do in a year.
How many windows does he have up and going?
No.
I shut down my Facebook site now, just to
Oh, he's got it covered. It's just that it's something to do with something, and nothing from nothing leaves nothing, and something. But no, well, we tried to go to Skype after we were dealing with the Google problem all morning, and then that didn't work out too good. And so I don't know. It was fine the other day when we were doing it, and it goes like that. Remember that problem we were having, Jane, when you had to call me on Google, then I had to call you on, or we had to do it on Skype because I couldn't hear you on Skype, but you could hear me, and then on Google you could hear me, but I couldn't hear you. That was really a blast.
Yes, and we had to have both open.
Yeah, we did, and an echo and
Yes.
technology, one step forward, 50 back.
Yeah.
Jason,
Now
hear me?
I'm having problems with myself and being patient because
Because you're an Arcturian.
yes, but I'm having patience with you two guys, but I'm thinking about the
Yeah, well, you only came in late.
technology in it. Yes, yes, because the technology is really um, a challenge. I think I'm not used to this. It's
It should be
all
so simple. It should be simple, and it's just little glitches here and there that are like can't even be explained. It's really ridiculous.
oh, maybe I should do
But
it.
Jason, he can hear us talk, and he's probably like, "Shit." He's like, "Yeah, what
Yeah.
the hell's going on?" But
Well, you know, you and me can go on talking like forever.
here he comes. He's cutting in. Okay, let him talk for a minute, let's see if he can talk.
No, I can't. I don't think I can. Actually.
Yes.
There he is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just weird. It's for a second and then that's me.
Oh, good God.
Oh, I can all of a sudden see you, Larry.
Really?
Laddie.
There you are.
There I
Ah,
am, and
good.
there I go.
Larry, Blueberry, Banana, Blueberry, Beep, Blueberry,
Larry. Yes. So maybe the key is to sing that song, Jason.
Yeah.
But that's not live, is it? Okay, then I'm gonna edit that out.
I don't know, but yeah, I'm getting rid of that part of it because it might be, but yeah. Oh well. Anyway, so your voice is coming clearly now, coming through clearly.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm just gonna have to stay in this position then for the duration of the night. And I've dealt with things more torturous. Oh. Wow.
There you go, and he's faded.
Again.
Kill him softly.
Are you able to use headphones? Maybe.
It's
You two are cutting each other out now. Oh man, bloopers take one. Pleiadians bloopers take 5.
and here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Well, she was just 17, if you know what I mean. Oh, I thought you were queuing me up.
Okay, everybody, welcome back.
You're back, good.
For a moment.
Did you enjoy your trip to your 2-second trip to the Pleiades?
Yes, I did actually.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you think, Jane?
Um, tell me what you were talking about. The future. And how was that?
I don't even know right now. It's been quite a morning.
Should I tell you about the future? I'm in your future.
You are. Well, that this is true. No, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You are. And I wish in the future you guys had the technology to get Jason's speaker situation fixed.
Oh, well, but you know, the Pleiadians and the Arcturians is not allowed to intervene.
Fix speakers, yes. But Jane, you have those wands you showed me in your house, those cool wands that you have, you know? Maybe you could like, I don't know, do something with the wand. I don't know. Shove it up Bill Gates' ass. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, everybody out there. Jason left. Jason, oh, okay, now he's going to try to come back in, I think. We've been dealing with this all morning long, and this just goes to show you the persistence, though. Anybody out there that's listening, the persistence, though, and patience when a collective comes together. Because in days past, I would have not let it get to the point of trying to fix this because I would have flipped out. I mean, Jason and I have tried everything this morning conceivable. And it's been really frustrating. It's weird. And,
Your interview went very good.
Which one?
When you were on air last time.
Yeah, the one between Jason and I, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Well, very well. You know, what really helped it go well was the fact that we didn't have any technical difficulties. Yes.
Smooth and gentle, yeah. Very good.
Very good, yes. We were just missing your touch there, though. But Jason, what Jason and I were really kind of getting into earlier was we were kind of getting into the groove talking about, like, the future is, like, I think we talked about this the other night a little bit, like food. Nobody having to pay, a collectives of people growing food, collectives of people having shelter together, taking care of each other, but people that want to, not making anybody have to be in that situation. Just people that want to get along with each other and that have one common goal. And go from there. And it's like we were talking about the other night, in a situation like that, money will not be needed because every resource will be there you could possibly need. So basically it would be worthless. And and Jason was just talking about how we want to emphasize too that we don't want to make anybody feel like they're not welcome or anything like that, or like if they want to just stay for a little bit of time they can and then go, and like there can be communities like this that start popping up all over the planet. And I know what it's going to sound like. I'm going to sound like I'm starting a commune and starting a cult, but that's not what it's about. This is not like a cult where it's a guilt trip where you're segregated there and you can't leave, or they don't want you to leave and you can never come back. It's not like that. Yeah. So what do you think about it, Jane?
I have posted several times on Pleiadians about different communities and how they try to make this work. And there is some of those communities that's really working very well, and it's a collective of people who just want to get off the grid, sort of, and they're gathering people from who has different kind of professions and trying to work on off time. Also, they have something going that's really big, whereas the people with different professions move out of their locations and into the these groups, and using all the time that they can
Hmm.
to work with all the tools that they've got and all the knowledge that they've also got, um, and trying to build houses and working together on how it's going to be, how it's going to look like. And they're growing their own food. They also have alternative medicine, and growing herbs, and um, doing meditation. They also bring their kids with. There are families living there,
Oh,
and they're also including the families and the kids. And they have operating schools for kids. They have teachers, they have doctors, they have meditating teachers.
do they have lots of accountants and lawyers too?
Yes, in fact, they have. They have a system that's um, operating from or managing the
Right.
group, and they're trying to find out much about how they are going to work on, like I said, meditation, alternative things, like um, what's the
Just like
name?
holistic things, the things
Yes,
better for you. And you posted a picture in the Pleiadian Woodstock page. It was just gorgeous. Well, they all were, but it looked like a sort of a cross between a really fancy tent and like a kind of a cabin. You know what I mean? Do you know the picture I'm talking about?
yes,
Yeah. Now something like that, smaller, more those kind of things are economical and they're good for the earth. It's just when I think of, yeah, I mean something like that, and it's gorgeous too. You know?
yes. I know, but this is what they are building is houses, and they're building also a sustainable community. And this community is serving all the things that you need in the community.
Yes.
Uh, and in the center of the town, or what should I call it, the community, there is a big building that is serving food for everyone, and that food is coming from the farm that they are having, and they're also having people who understands this about all plants and herbs and everything. They're growing all the foods that they're eating. It's
And everybody pitches in and does what they
vegetable.
can, and yeah, everybody utilizes their talents in a situation like that and works together. There's no,
They're
yeah.
cooking and
That's
they're having
awesome.
different recipes, and they're serving all the community with the food that they have. Have you seen the New Earth project? That's the thing I'm talking about. I think we have Jason with us, or
Yes.
I'm just listening right now.
I,
okay.
the
Have you
Earth First Project.
New Earth project? Yes.
Yes.
Uh, there's also a video of it's not the whole video. It's, a couple in the United States. They made a video of how to solve the problem and how to not create fear, but create love. And they're looking into the problems and who's creating it, and how to solve um, the electricity, to
Yes.
have free energy.
Yes, that we had the technology for in the 1930s. Yes.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
I think that's
if
interesting.
if you got things like this Mars One project, right, and they're going and colonizing Mars, and they're setting to do that. I think it's a project from Holland. I just don't understand, why we can't have self-sustaining communities here on Earth. I mean, let alone on the planet Mars, right? I'm sure both of you have heard about the Mars project, or
Yes.
Project Mars One.
Yes, and I'm sure it's not any cheaper than doing this here on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely, and nothing wrong with it. It's a good thing. It's a good initiative, but we can have these kind of self-sustaining communities like this project that Jane was just speaking about a moment ago.
Right. Well, we got to get the name of that couple, Jane. If you can find that out later, that would be great to post that. But yeah, Jason's right. I mean, and these things can. What are you thinking, Jason? Like several of them around the planet, or what? Or whatever it takes, really. I mean, I guess.
I mean, feasibly, the more the merrier. I mean, because again, you're also looking at how big a community you could sustain, right? I mean, you could set up a community, and then if 50,000 people showed up, you might be looking at a logistics nightmare for some people, or it also could work. So it's just a matter of looking at the logistics and the location, those people who are actually wanting to get involved in the project and do this. I think absolutely can be done in many places, and I think places like Norway, Iceland, even where you're at, Larry, in Oregon, Northwest Canada, those are all really excellent locations.
They are, and hence a lot of them would have to be in those areas. But they could really be anywhere though too. And these would be like what I mean. The places you just mentioned would be perfect places to set the trend in the first of them. The first model, so to speak. If I'm phrasing that right, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the reason why I say Norway and Oregon is that anywhere where there is a Larry Locken, or anywhere where there's a Jane Hermstad, it's an excellent place to be. So.
Jane agrees. She loves anywhere a Jane is.
I think you should include yourself, Jason, and you're also in an excellent position and a place, I think. And I'm sure you got lots of nature. I think maybe Larry is meeting some challenges because I don't know if Oregon has that problem, but they most certainly have in Texas, where Brenda is, where you're not allowed to grow food in your garden. So you need also to start a by the way, I found it. It's the Thrive movement, and the New Earth Project. Those are both trying to be sustainable and trying to get people to work with them to find out how to. But then again, you need some land, because and lawyers, so you can have a ground to start on, and from there you can really do magic, I think.
Yes, there's plenty, lots of lawyers.
Yes, you need to know the law of the country, and then again you need someone that hands over some land, and if you get that, if someone is interested in being together with you in this project, you can start. By the way, I'm with the Thrive movement in Norway, and we have a couple of places down southwest, where we started, but there is just as far as I saw the last time I checked, it was just 3 members. So it really needs to be promoted in a way.
It does. It needs to get to a point, too, where it's nice where people could donate land and stuff, but there's so much land available on the planet that it'll get to a point where it's time that, some of that land, the governments, which is us of the world, really need to say, hey, this land needs to be used for us, but I mean, with 3 people, we can't. But that's down the road anyway.
That's
What do you
true.
think, Jay? What do you think, Jay? Will?
I mean, that's all true. And I'm first of all, I'm just glad we're even talking about this. This is very
Biggest step probably is just
actually discuss this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as Jane was mentioning about lawyers, because let's deal with the facts, which is the majority of the planet right now is all controlled by what we call sovereign nation states. So anytime you want to try to set up any kind of if you will a commune or a colony or a community in Norway or Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Canada, these are all under the jurisdiction of a nation state. So you need to make sure that what is going on there is approved by the powers that be, because this isn't the times a few hundred years ago you could travel wherever you wanted to without a visa or a passport. Now you need there's paperwork, there's legalism involved, and we have to recognize that, because we have to be able to work with the system that is in existence, and then go from there. This is basically what we need to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of 3D aspects involved that we really have to pay attention to. Like you say, it's not something we can just put our heads in the sand and wish Prime Creator will just make it happen. I mean, it has to be. There's those 3D issues that are certainly something we got to deal with.
I mean, there was a guy, his name was Fela Kuti, and I don't recall if he was from Nigeria or from Cameroon. And what he did, and it actually sounds tempting to a lot of people, but you can look him up, Fela Kuti, and what he did was he put a fence around his house, and he declared his house and his property an independent state. Once you do that, you're asking for trouble, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. In more ways and in different directions you couldn't even imagine. Yep.
So I think really what it is trying to build, safe harbors and communities where people can come and, refresh and recuperate. And then once the grid comes down, which, we're not here to teach doom and gloom or fear, but it is a matter of time. It's run its course. And when that grid comes down, there also needs to be places where people can go to.
Yeah. And I think Jane and I were talking about that the other night. Jane had a good point about there's going to come a time like that where we're all going to be tested for a short period of time like we've never been tested before. And the grid going down could be something like that. And people are going to have to know how to do all this stuff and really rely on each other as a collective like we've never had to before, ever.
Yes, and I don't think it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen for sure, and that's what I've been on to Pleiadians as a group and as a collective, because it's very important that if you're going to lead someone and if you're going to lead everything, and including yourself, it's all about yourself and your self-conscious. It's all about trying to stay strong and trying to grow, to expand, to explore, and observe everything. And to observe, I think the first thing that you have to observe is yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to go deep inside yourself. And to do that, you need to meditate and to be within yourself and have contact with the core of yourself, and also stay connected to the earth and the powers of the earth. We also need to meditate very often and protect yourselves from everything that's outside, in that sense of the 3D world.
Right.
It's really taking your time, and you need to also buy this time in that sense of taking the time off and not allowing all the 3D stuff to have a grip on you, because if it does, like when you have all these phone calls and all these people coming to you and wanting something from you, it's taking your energy. And you need this energy to sort of things like this. getting out of 3D world is also about, as Jason and you said, creating a community. But I think that what we're facing in the West and in Scandinavia is if you're going to grow something outside, vegetables and food outside, you have a really great challenge um, as to the fact that we have um, cold winters, and it takes money and time to start something like that and show off that it's really working. Because in Norway, people are generally rich people, and they can buy they can buy whatever they want. They have their own houses. They're living in, and not so much people are awakened yet. I don't have any. I don't have much contact with many people from Norway who is awakened, and those who are, they're trying to get land outside of town and cities and trying to build something that's very close to the nature, that's friendly to breathe in and to live in. Um, no chemicals and stuff like that. They're sort of hiding. It's not like the thought of coming together as we have in the Pleiadian group. So I'm missing that. That's on world. Yeah, it's all over the world. You know, we have been gathering people from all over the world. So getting to the point, finding those people from Norway, and when I do, I'm sure that it's far away from me. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm having a challenge. I can relocate. That's not difficult, and we can also use internet to connect.
Yeah.
But you need the time. You need the time and the strength.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the challenge we have. So where to go from there? I'm really not sure. It puzzles me.
Hmm. Jane, she's raised a lot of really. Larry, did you want to comment on something, or do you want me to jump?
I was waiting for you to go ahead and jump in. I concur with her, and I'm kind of stumped at that point too. It's like, where do we go from there? But I guess that will come. But yeah, I was kind of waiting for your wisdom to chime in, man, and because I wanted to hear what you had to say.
Not everybody, and again, I'm not saying this to be mean-spirited, nothing wrong with this, but not everyone in the starseed community, not all light workers are people out there just smoking marijuana and waiting for some spaceship to come and save them. There are a lot of really vibrant and intelligent people within our community. Everyone has something to contribute. And Jane brought up a very good point about, us going through this period of tribulation, because this is exactly what was revealed to me as well. Because what's going to happen, you see, I stated this before, is that culture can exist without a civilization. But a civilization cannot exist without a culture. And I'm going to give an example of that, is that just nearby me in Indonesia, you have people who are dependent upon, interdependent with the land. There are farmers and there are fishermen. So if the Indonesian rupiah rises in its value, quote unquote value, I could go into the issue of fiat currency, but that's not the time and place. But if it rises or lowers in its value, they don't care. In fact, if their entire economy, quote unquote, banking system collapse, these people are still going to eat the same way that they have been eating for hundreds of years. Now, when you take a city like Singapore, we are basically, imagine a man in a hospital who is connected to a bunch of machines that monitor his vital systems. If you actually remove those machines from that person, they die, because they're actually plugged into these machines. And that's exactly what it's like when you're in a metropolitan area and you're depending upon, you can just go down to your grocery store, or 7-Eleven, or Walmart, and you just take for granted, well, that's just always going to be there, and it's going to be like that. So when it comes to this point, when that finally collapses, and this is not what we're saying, this is what people who are experts in economics and people looking ahead are saying this is going to come, is we're going to be tested, because we talk all this namaste, love, light, and peace, but when you strip away the civilization from people, that's when you're going to see the true qualities. Who's going to be selfish? Who's going to look out for themselves? Who's going to be the person hurting other people? And then you're going to be monitored and watched to see who are those people who reach a helping hand to their neighbor. Who's going to be the one to try to step up to the plate and continue to show that love and light under that kind of a pressure. That's what they're going to watch and see.
That's
and like
brilliant. Yeah, wow, Jason. I mean, yeah. I know a certain Arcturian lady who was saying the same thing the other night. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, because you know it's nice, but the thing is that people coming into this information, that's the beginning. When you start to realize why you're here, you start to realize that connection and connecting to your star families before. But you're going to be tested. You're going to be put in a real situation. I know many people listening to this are saying, well, haven't I been tested enough? Haven't we gone through enough in this life? But this is as a collective. This is going to see how we come together and how we do it or not. And one thing I wanted to mention about Jane was mentioning about, it's difficult to grow in these kind of environments. And again, going back to that, if you have these people who are wanting to actually colonize Mars and put simple algae on Mars, they want to try to terraform the planet eventually is what they want to do. Mm-hmm. And they actually have a scheme of how to grow vegetables under these very harsh conditions and have sustainable food and so forth. Then I can guarantee you that we have the technology in place and we have people within the community who can do this. In tundra regions, in places where there are desert, it's feasible and it can be done. Anytime that we are presented with a wall in front of us, it is not so much as a challenge as it is a puzzle. Do we go over the wall or around it or under it or just right through it?
Exactly. And it sure proves the point, too. Like, we could sit here and go into the conspiracy part of it. Like, oh, well, we've had the technology to do all that forever. But like you're saying, we have these plans to do all that on Mars. Imagine really how simple it is to do here. So, I mean, the fact that Mars project is even going on really speaks to the whole absurdity that we're up against with, some of the powers that be here,
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that, millions of miles away on the planet Mars. It can be done on any environment, on this planet. Honestly, it can.
Yeah, if Mars is as primitive as they say it is and as bombed back as they say it is, if they can go all the way there and do it there, much less get there, but do it there, I mean, yeah, exactly. Then as far as I'm concerned, with their help, if they actually had any integrity, the people that were running everything, it should be a piece of cake, but we know that's not the case, and that's what we're up against too. But this is good to bring the awareness out there, Jason, like you're doing and saying, because if they can grow algae up there and do that kind of stuff, I mean, it should be a piece of cake, like almost overnight here to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree in that, and I think it's always, as I posted before, and as I also think that it all begins with you. So if you start with a greenhouse, for example, and you grow something, you can start with just giving some of your vegetables or whatever you're growing to the neighbors, and it can expand. Once other people hear about it and you want to give some of it away because it's growing fast and you can save your own family, I think that is a very good idea. And in some towns, I think it was London or was it Dublin, I'm not sure, but I think I heard of a place they started to grow fruits, and in the middle of the town, and homeless people could go there and just harvest from that. Whenever they were hungry, they could eat from it. And I think that's a very good start and a very good idea. And if they can do it, we can do it also. And as Jesse was talking about what is going to happen, that's true. It's going to happen that we are going to face some challenges, and not only challenges, but really difficulties where the grid will come down, and you will rely on what you if you can sustain yourself, and also living in a cold country, if you have an oven where you can fire up and have a warm house, because it's going to get cold. Think about it. If all of a sudden the sun is going away in this transition of this transferring to the new earth, and I
New
think that's
vibration. Yeah.
yes, I think that's if all of a sudden we don't have any electricity all
Mhm.
around us, and we will rely on having wood fire or uh, something else to heat up our homes. All of a sudden it's going to be very cold for so many people, and how many can you house? How many can you help? All of a sudden also, as Jess is saying, it comes down to how loving and caring you are in that situation.
And that's the
You
test
will
too.
be
Yeah.
tested big time, and people are going to panic all over the place. And when the store is closing, then you have to have something to eat. And
Mhm.
I think it's very wise to try eat more vegetables and find out what your body needs to live.
Exactly. And I think our body needs that kind of thing anyways. We're going through ascension, but yeah, you're absolutely right. And the thing is, this is inevitable that it's coming. And you know what's funny is
I had some.
the more prepared we are, the more we can stave it off. I mean, we could get to the point where we're so prepared as a collective, it never happens. And that's the energy. I mean, it's going to
Jane, if you
happen, but
can
the
hear me,
more,
can you just raise your hand?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, because I don't know, the sound had cut out on my side. So you and Larry, please carry on for a second, and let me see if I can get this under control.
yeah,
And I'll
no
jump back
problem,
in,
brother.
please.
Take your time. What I was just finishing up by saying was that, like Jane said, and you say, this is definitely coming. There's no doubt about it. But you know what? The more prepared we are for it, the less of an impact it's going to be, and to the point where if our conscious and collective was raised so above it and together, I mean, we could stave off most of it. I mean, it's like it puts energy out there countering that kind of negativity. The more we are ready, the more we are prepared, and that's I mean, I know people, for instance, that stock up food, and they're not crazy like Timothy McVeigh types or anything. But yes, they do have a lot of legal firearms and stuff like that stockpiled and trained. But they do all this because so they'll never need to use it. You know what I mean? They do all this stuff too, so they'll never need to have to do it. And but just in case something's needed, they're prepared. They're prepared, and I think the more we prepare, it certainly can't hurt. The more we talk about it and get it out there in the consciousness, and then we wonder, well, how are we going to get the funds to do this or do that? But the more we talk about it, the more consciousness that comes out there. All of a sudden, because of that good energy we put out there, then a wild card will show up, and things will help itself out. So it's just about talking about it and getting it out there, and I think more and more people are, and we just all we can do is keep doing what we're doing and forge ahead. I mean, we don't have any other choice.
Just think about if everything goes black and everything is starting to freeze, and you're cold in your house. I think it's very important to understand and to know that um, um, having an oven where you can keep warm and fire up, and thinking about also having candlelights in your house, and as I said, also food, because when this is happening,
Yeah.
people people are going to panic, and if it happens for 3 days, 3 days in darkness, not knowing what the time is and how long it's going to be like this. That's really freaking out people also, because we know that electricity today, everyone feels safe. Everybody feels safe. There is light outside, there is electricity in the houses, and of course you feel safe. But all of a sudden, when you go back 100 years, where
Mm-hmm.
when they had the daylight, but when you don't have the daylight even, it's going to be very scary. And when they panic, you need to know how to keep calm and how to understand that this is going to happen just for a short time. And then when you have people around with you, they're going to have so many thoughts, and not knowing for how long this is going on, and maybe they don't have warm clothes enough to warm them up, and
Yes, that's true.
also being away from your friends. Maybe you have to pledge your own house and home, or going into the first house you see, and this is really disturbing, because I think being that scared, you have to also find people who are strong. And I think
Yes,
the
that's
only way
true.
to be strong is to meditate and stay within this darkness. And when you meditate and you shut your eyes, um, you produce serotonin, which is the sleeping hormone. And when you're used to stay in this darkness, it is not so scary anymore. But then again, learning how to meditate in that kind of situation is very hard.
It
Um,
it really is, Jane, and and I want Jason to like get in on this, but I want to make a point real quick. You mentioned the panic and everything, and the chaos that's going to be, and what I'm hoping though, the one silver lining, I'm hoping that we've awakened enough as a society where it's not going to be like, I know you probably have never heard of it, but Jason, being familiar with the United States, probably the 1977 New York blackout. when
Wow. Yeah.
for 3 days the blackout, and I mean, and keep in mind, I mean, that was back then, but the city was looted, was right. I mean, they were basically on their own in the Stone Age for 3 days, and things went from bad to worse real quick. My hope is that we're a little more enlightened now, because there's going to be so much chaos as it is, and keeping people calm, that that stuff doesn't happen on a mass scale as much. But that was really that was a bad situation, that those 3 days. And you're talking when the biggest city in America, one of the top 5 biggest cities in the world, and yeah, I mean, that's old news, but you kind of remember from history, Jason, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean that was a very difficult time, and what Jane is saying also, again, all of this is correct, and people need to have these skills and be able to be independent and then interdependent communities, and we can discuss a bit about how that can come about, because we're talking about this scenario, and you see that stuff is going to go down because that is expected for the vast majority of people out there, because they live in that kind of reality. But for those of us who have been blessed to understand these teachings, understand where we've been, where we are, where we're going, it's going to be a test amongst us. This is what I'm saying. That is basically expected from the vast bulk of we're sorry to say, but this is also what we're doing, and why we're speaking here now is to try to reach as many people as possible and have them to see this. But when it comes down, it's also going to be about are the people who here incarnated from those other civilizations doing their part, helping and lending a hand to humanity, and when this grid goes off, what alternative is there for the people to have? And I'm sorry because I had a lot of technical issues here. This has been a really fun day for all three of us. Yeah. Well, blessed be Prime Creator who teaches us patience.
Amen to that.
That's also why I wanted to talk about the Light Grid project and see ever since that I got in touch with the Pleiadians, and what I have been revealed to be here is to start that project, to be a catalyst to actually network amongst people and to get this project moving. I will tell you, no matter what I accomplish in this life, I will feel that I have failed until I see that through. I'm honestly telling you guys that, and whoever is listening, because I believe that we owe that to ourselves and we owe that to the future, to at the very least, as we're talking about it now, that's one initial step, is to get this thing moving and moving forward. I mean, the old ways, the old systems, the old grid is going to be washed away. So there needs to be, a safe haven. There needs to be a new reality for people to be able to step into. The thinking and the consciousness part is a big part of it, but we are still in these 3D bodies. We're still in these 3D forms. People are going to need to eat. People are going to need a place to sleep. People are going to need a place where they can rest their mind. I'm telling you, like right now, you're not going to be able to meditate and be in a state of peace or calm if you're in the middle of a war zone.
No.
That's why you go, to a mountain or near a waterfall or in the forest or in your room or a place that's quiet, a place that's peaceful and calm that will allow you to be able to take those energies in. Now, you can actually reach a state of ascension to where you're, no matter what situation you are in, inwardly you're always going to be in that state of calm. We can actually reach that state now. But what I'm talking about is for people to be able to meet those real needs that they're going to have. I wanted to read something, if I could, from, if it's okay with the both of you.
I'd love it.
This is from Barbara Marcianic, and we've heard it before, but listen to what is being said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking to you, Larry, speaking to Jane, speaking to all of those people out here who are listening and that resonates with this. You are magnificent beings, members of the family of light. You have come to Earth on assignment to create a shift, to aid in the transition. So we are to create and to aid. You were told before you came here that different entities would present themselves upon the planet in different capacities to trigger you, to remind you, but not to do it for you. We are one of those triggers, a catalyst. We are assisting you in bringing your own knowing, your own information forward. Now, what do you think about that?
At the risk of sounding controversial, to me, if I had to pick a favorite religious scripture of all time, if you were going to go there, that to me says it all. That right there is the spark that ignited the whole thing.
I mean, because that's what it is, and one of the things too is that we're all going to need to learn a sense of control. Because in life, you are either going to be in control of yourself, okay? You are either going to be in control of yourself, or someone or something else will be in control of you. And we're talking about very simple things, even about like our diet, watching what we're eating, our sleeping, how much time, and I'm saying this to myself first before I am to the listeners, how much time we actually spend on the internet with electronic gadgets, with all of these things. We are either we're going to be in control of ourselves, someone or something else is going to be in control of us. And we get to choose.
I think most of the people around us who is not everyone around us who's not awakened yet, which is so many in this planet, even though they're coming fast awake, and we're receiving them in the Pleiadians and all over the place. There is so many people I've been talking to who is wondering about meditation and so many other things as well. And I think we ought to remember, and we need to know how divine we are and where we're coming from. And this you cannot know until you are awakened and until you are connecting with other people who are awakened from before. and we need to know how great we are, how great beings we are, and what we are capable of. We are capable of much more than we think we are, and we have skills also. Just thinking about that thought and your language, however you are using it and what you send out there. Thoughts are power, it's energy, and it's real. I think also we have to remember that giving out love, just thinking about it. Have one example. Jason, you put out a post the other day, I think it was, whereas we go out with prayers to Texas that they needed rain, they were drying out, and
Yes.
just thinking about it and praying for it, and or whatever you want to cast spells or doing rituals or whatever. Brent, I had a message from Brenda today where it was very successful and it was raining so much.
Yes, Michelle Walling is, not to interrupt you, Michelle Walling, my co-host, is from Texas, and she said the same thing, and Jason and I had talked about it just before that, and man, Jason, you really came through, brother. Much love. I mean, that, I'm going to give you the credit, even, you know, Prime Creators credit, you really came through for a lot of people on that, and there's a lot of grateful people. It's they got more rain than they could have ever expected. It's wonderful. Yeah, Jane, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I had to chime in with that because I was so excited too about what happened.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. It's really. I was thinking about. I think I posted the picture many times. I was writing a quote from somewhere. I don't remember where I got it, but it really describes the situation about thinking and how much power it is. They say you can move mountains only by will, and willing it and coming from the heart, you can do so much by thinking and saying, and the language you are speaking and with the passion you're speaking it with, it really creates. And you need to know also that when you passionately believe in which does not exist, you create it. You really create it. And I also posted the podcasts of it's called what was that again? I think I have to come back to that.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's a podcast that says something about how to control your mind. It's mind power.
The great philosophers have always talked about that mind power, but we're really starting to realize, like, especially like people like, well, myself, but especially like you, Jason, and you, Jane. I mean, it's everything. This mind power it's everything. Your thoughts out there. I mean, it's so much even bigger than I could have ever even imagined. You know.
Brenda.
It's learnmindpower.com. If you go to that, I don't remember the name of this person who came up with this idea or these teachings, but it's really powerful. Learnmindpower.com is a good way of it's a good way of trying to learn how to control your mind and control your speech and what you're sending out, because you need to be careful what you're thinking, because that is a talk with the universe and we are connected. Yes. Do you have something to say about that? Is there any thoughts?
Yeah.
Larry?
No, I was curious to get Jason's thoughts on it, but yeah, you're right. I mean, and I'll just say, excuse me, I was eating some breakfast, but there is and it's not a judgment thing. Like Jane, when you were saying that, it's totally out of love. It's not like you're warning people, like, oh, don't think this or don't. watch your thoughts. But it's so true, and it's more about keeping yourself healthy too. You know, when you think those negative thoughts, it's hurting you, but you're sending that out into the universe, and it's just a reality of it. It's not like we're trying to tell anybody, okay, well, don't ever get mad, don't think this, don't think that. It's just be aware of it. You could go ahead and get mad and think all that stuff, but as long as you're aware that you did it, that's going to start helping. I mean, I think, you know, and I just don't want anybody to get the impression that we're trying to preach and like, oh, well, and we're not. And I want to make that clear is that, but it's a reality. You put that out there, you're going to get it back, you know, and you're going to also get that back for humanity. You know, it's everybody's so powerful and they don't even realize it.
When Brenda told me the day before yesterday about the situation in Texas, I was completely oblivious of that on a personal level, in all honesty. And what she said was, it just really touched my heart in the way that she put it. And so I did go, you know, out of curiosity, I went online and looked up the situation in Texas and some of the pictures from the farms and the droughts, and then that people in the United States of America were actually using toilet water in the state of Texas to actually get their water. And that was like, okay, this is very serious, and the drought surrounded other areas. So what I had did at that time was just, you know, focus inward, and I turned that over to Prime Creator, and I also asked our Pleiadian allies if this is something that is good, and I think it's a good request, and the intention behind it is good. That's what's important too, because you know you can't just ask for divine and angelic powers to come to your aid if you want to inflict harm or do something that's selfish. So this is something that was, I believe, of good and pure and noble intentions. And then I sent that out there onto my page and on the Pleiadian page, and a lot of people responded, and I'm very, very thankful to each and every one of you who did. And they had a downpour of rain, and I can tell you this right now, from what I was told, they're going to get even more next week. So, and then
that you say that, Jason, because my reply to Brenda is when she was saying thank you for whatever you did, and I said, yeah, well, there will be more. And at that time, I was on my way home from work, really. So that's strange.
I mean, it's really that strange. We're, you know, it's pretty much business as usual now, guys, huh?
Yes, and you know the thing is more and more of these things will become manifest, and you know there are some segments and people out there who get frightened, and because some people, you know, humanity is so used to, okay, well, what do they want in return? Because we're so used to being used, being duped, being fooled, and it's very simple. Those who have come to assist us in any time, the only thing that they want in return is love, and that love not necessarily directed towards them, but towards each other, towards all sentient beings, infinite and unconditional love towards one another. That's all that's asked and returned. Not worship directed towards someone, not money, not you have to be in servitude. No, if you're going to be in servitude, then be in servitude to your fellow human being. You know, be of service to your fellow human being. Be in love to your fellow human being and help them. This is what's asked. And I think that's very fair, because you're only going to benefit from that more and more, and hopefully that will increase in you gratitude. I'm remembering the gentleman's name who's an admin on the Pleiadian Light Grid page, Hugh. You know who I'm talking about, right, Larry?
Yes. Yep.
And he has this excellent page about Thank You Thursday, correct? Which it's all about gratitude.
Great poet the man is, actually, too, I think.
Absolutely. And that gratitude is very important, because you see, the more that we are thankful, the more the universe will give us things to be thankful for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's like if we had like, okay, $20, and we gave away that $20, and we're greedy, we know we don't give away. But if we gave that out of love, what we get back from the universe is like the equivalent of $2,000. You know, if I could put that in layman's terms, you know, I mean, it all comes back to you in so many ways and in so much abundance. You know, when you just give a little bit of yourself, then you've got all that energy coming back at you. You know, eventually.
Yeah, that
Yes,
was what I was trying to say also about learn mind power, because it's and by the way, it's John Cahill, and it's the thing that he's trying to teach us is that you create your reality. And he's saying also unleash the power within you. Learning to harness the power of your mind reveals unlimited possibilities for positive personal development. And when all of this is positive, and you want to create you want to shine out love for all your fellow beings. We're in this together. Um, I think staying in gratitude and bless people, that's also something that have been much forgotten. To wherever you go, whoever you meet, bless them. Bless them even if they are not giving you any kind words. Even
absolutely.
in the
Yes,
store, when you go to the store and shop and you meet someone who is short of time and very impatient and being um, what you would refer to as rude or saying, they can have a bad day. And if you put the Googles on and see behind every person, they have we have all got our share, and we all have our own path, and life doesn't come without difficulties. We are here to meet difficulties and people who mirrors you the way you are, and we are going to do that back. We're not going to hold anything. It's card on the table time. If you're going to show off both bad and good sides, and it's all about how you meet these needs and how you can see behind every person. It could be someone with cancer. It could be people thinking about their partner having a difficult time. It could be the kids. It could be anything.
And Jane, and it could be something as simple as, and not to be stupid, it could be something as simple as they're missing their favorite soap opera. But the bottom line is, it's nothing personal against you, that mood they're in. They are, they're hurting for whatever reason. And we need to get out of more of this mentality of like, oh, well, they offended me, or well, why were they that way? And love them and say, gosh, they really did have a bad day. And to them, whatever was bugging them, that was a big deal, And that was really, and it's nothing personal, obviously. And so, yeah, and I'm glad to see we're not so much anymore, a lot of us, so caught up in, oh, I'm so offended or I'm so hurt, because that person who may have said something to offend you, well, they're hurting a hell of a lot worse than you are probably in that situation.
I think yes, I totally agree, and I think you're so right. And I think also we forget the power of the blessings, because you don't have to say so much if you're not that kind of person. Just leaving with the thought of bless you and really mean it from the bottom of your heart. I think that's very important today. Being loving, just think about yourself. If someone sent you some blessings, it could be only by thought. We are that powerful. And I think there is most of the people we are passing every day, they really need it. Just a hand to hold and the shoulder to lean on, and the security, the being feeling cared for, and the trust, and
And I think
being a
Jason's
strong
a good
person.
example of somebody who embodies that in every post that he makes, and the tones are always like that from him. That it's about the love, and you know what I mean. He really does walk the walk like that. What you're talking about, Jane. I mean, we need people to be in that state of mind and just realize that we are one, and I mean, really, we are. It's not some catchphrase. I mean, this is the reality of the situation. And if you don't love the other people, you can't love yourself if you don't love other people, and vice versa. And yeah, I don't know. Hey, Jason, what do you think, man?
well, I mean, you know, she was talking about you were mentioning about the power of the mind. Is that correct, Jane?
Yes, that's
And
right.
this is another quote again from Barbara Marcianic. You know, may her secrets be sanctified, and may she always be blessed for being used as a medium by our Pleiadian allies who are helping us in this challenging time. And this quote is also very interesting, and it relates to that, where she says, everything changes when you start to emit your own frequency rather than absorbing the frequencies around you. When you start imprinting your intent on the universe rather than receiving an imprint from existence.
Brilliant.
Yes, that's brilliant. And that's also true. And you can test it out. I've tried it. In fact, I've tried it. I was doing some tests on what kind of energy you send out to people, and that was a time when I was living in Oslo for a while. I was, you know, in Oslo they have tram and buses and trains and everything. You can when you jump into the tram in the morning, it's filled up, and I was thinking, oh, this is really interesting. I will try this and see what is happening. And I was having like, okay, imagine a bad day. You're grumpy, you don't want to have anyone sitting beside you. You want your own space, and you create your own space and this aura and everything. And I was shining out this, and in a very large distance, there were no one sitting beside me. Whereas next day, when I was doing exactly the same, I was trying to shine out that it's okay sitting beside me. I was sitting beside the window, very close to the window, both of the time. So it was easy for people to sit next to me. And it was crowded both days, and someone was standing in the tram. And the next day, I had people sitting beside me all day long. So it's really true. You have that kind of power, and you can shine out that kind of energy, which allows people or don't allow people to come next to you. You create this kind of energy. So imagine what you can do doing this all the time. You might just miss something. You might miss some person who is doing the same, or an interesting conversation, and it could last for like forever.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I think about all the years too that, like, I worked in a stuffy corporate career, and I was so grouchy, and I would have been just the worst person to be around in those mornings because I just hated the world in the morning. I mean, I was really resentful, and you know, and yeah, you can really just you know, and you can hurt people's feelings and set the tone, or you can just give off that loving energy and vibration and really make somebody's day. And it's not always easy, but if we're aware of it, like I'm aware of it now and thinking about it, it really makes a lot of difference too, you know.
Yes, it makes a lot of difference, and that's why I'm also bringing out that warrior from by John Cale, where he is talking about the future of the mind, and there's so much to learn there, and you can master yourself. And I think it's also about meditations. It's about mastering yourself, but you will also master chaos and panic in a much better way. And
Well,
I
think about it. What other answer could there be when you really master your mind on an enlightened level like he's talking about? I mean, isn't that the key to the whole thing? You know, the collective doing that, yeah. It's within and not without. You know, we get so hung up on wanting to master what's going on out there and this and that and who's doing this and who's doing what. But when we all start getting within ourselves and do that, yeah, I can only imagine how great it's going to be and how quick it would happen if we really got to that point as a collective.
Well, you know, this is why there's no no pressure on anybody, but if you're talking about ascension, and if people are actually wanting to talk about coming to a state of higher frequency and vibration, one is that change in attitude, again, towards other people, and first, the highest love is love of self. And it's not, because you cannot love other people until you can learn to love yourself, fully, completely accept yourself for who and what you are, and then you emit that love and light energy out to others. But here's something to think about. It's one thing to change, the shift in consciousness, but the mind and the consciousness is also contained within matter. And the body is also, as we understand from now, at this level, right, is matter. And we're talking about trying to overcome things, but we don't even overcome ourselves. And if you look at all of the great faith and spiritual traditions, they actually had spiritual exercises. And I'm not just talking about, doing some hymns and some prayers and so on and so forth, but I'm talking about disciplines of the body. Like, for example, how many of us as star seeds, or how many of us as light workers actually fast? And what does fasting do? When you think about it in life, probably two of the greatest physical experiences that you can have as a human being is a really good meal that you have ever eaten, whether it's mom's home cooked meal or some famous dish in Norway, or in Texas, or what have you, something very, very nice, and you eat that and you say, wow, that was very satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is an orgasm from sexual experience. It's
Right.
actually quite powerful, right? What is it that some people call in French le petit mort, the slow death, right? This is the so
Yin yang.
so what I'm saying about that is that these are two aspects of the physical nature, but when you fast, you're actually denying that. You're denying the stomach. You're denying your stomach. When you fast, you also are identifying with those of our brothers and sisters in humanity who may not have food to eat for that day. You feel what they feel. You connect with them. The difference being is that when you feel hunger pains in your stomach, you can actually break your fast whenever you want. But there are some people, like for example in Somalia, they don't have that choice. They fast until death. That's what breaks their fast, death. So when you do that, and it actually will make your body lighter and more dense. And this is what you're talking about, because you see, the body is made of atoms. The atoms, right, are made of molecules. The molecules of electrons and protons and neutrons. Well, you look at the word photon, like the word photograph or photographic. It's the Greek word phos, light. You're actually at the subatomic level. You're made of light. And the interesting thing about light is that in physics, it's called the light wave. It's called the dual nature of the particle, where it's both a wave and it's a particle. I'm trying to remember the exact term for it. It's quite an anomaly within physics, where light is both a particle. It's got this quote unquote like a physical existence, but it's also a wave simultaneously. So it has these two natures to it. So by doing these particular practices, and I'm talking about being in states like Jane mentioned, meditate in a dark room, turn all the lights off, and close your eyes with that awareness that even the light that you're in is dark, that the room around you is dark. And then you're not going to have that fear of the darkness, and you start to tunnel deep within, because what you're really doing, if we're saying that Prime Creator is everything, then there you go. Well, who do you think you really are? If Prime Creator is everything, you're actually tunneling within, and you're finding that divine within. Isn't that what the Honorable Leah Shapiro is teaching us as well?
Exactly. And Jason, and I know you would agree with this, and Jane mentioned this the other night too, and meditation doesn't have to mean you're sitting down in an uncomfortable position with your hands out for hours. It's just getting some simple quiet time, closing your eyes a little bit, doing what you think is meditation. It's not, you don't have to organize it and sit there and go om and om and om, which if that works for you, fine, but it could just be that relaxing quiet moment, and thinking about thinking about those things that you're mentioning.
See, people don't realize it, but the body actually demands that from you, hence sleep. Even if right now we wanted to stay awake for 24 hours, 36 hours, and drink a lot of caffeine, eventually the body will come to a point where the body will tell you, enough, I've had enough. And then you have to go into a state called sleep. And then it gets into REM, where You have the deepest part of the sleep, and then that's very interesting when you're talking about issues of the conscious and the subconscious at that point. And here's something to consider as well. They say that energy is not created or destroyed, but merely transforms or changes form. Well, how about when you have thoughts? Because when you have thoughts in your mind, that thought is a wave, it is a frequency, and you are actually giving birth to new energy. You are actually creating energy with your thoughts and your consciousness. And if there's the law of attraction in the universe and you're constantly thinking negative things, what do you think you're attracting?
Yeah, the proof's in the pudding. Exactly, too. Yes. Right on.
I told that to so many people, so many times, and um, I think that's a very important thing to remember. That's why I'm going into the quantum warrior also. When you think of what you don't want, you see the source, the prime creator, and the source where you're giving um, these thoughts out to. That's only that's love. It only knows love. So when
Yes.
you're thinking
Yes.
about something negative and you're thinking about what you don't want all the time, it doesn't understand that that's not what you want, because the natural state of the human beings is to think about what you want. So will naturally give you what you don't want, more of what you don't want, because that source is thinking, oh, she wants that, and the more that she don't want, we give her that because that's love for her or him. So we need to remember that too. That as long as you can stay positive and think about what you want in your life, that's what you get. And also, what Jason was saying, something about meditation, and you also, Larry. I had a situation where I'm working in a stressful place where we don't have so much time for our patients and everything. And some of them are having great issues, great problems with sleeping in the night. And having those problems, I tried to say to this person, try to just close your eyes and meditate. And then this old lady said to me, what is meditation? I would like to learn that. And I was feeling sort of sorry for her. So I took the time, sat down, and asked her, what do you know? Nothing. And I said, I just know that somebody's doing it and having pleasure from it. And I said, yeah, well, you can really also control sleeping, your sleeping patterns. And if you have problems with sleeping, you can meditate yourself into sleep, and trying to explain to her how she do it. And of course, an old lady has a problem with sitting in a lotus position,
Yeah.
and that would be quite natural. So she was thinking also that they're always sitting in that position, and that's difficult for me. And I said, yeah, but you don't have to sit in a certain position, because to be in a meditative state of mind is natural for us. We are born like that. Have you ever seen a child who's all of a sudden is fading away from the conversation or what you're saying to it? And we grown-ups are bad enough to say, "Hello, stop daydreaming." We should
Exactly.
do that. We should leave the
Exactly.
child alone
Just
and
like, yeah,
let
and then we get
them
into stereotype. Yeah, we get into stereotype, not to interrupt, that we have to sit there and do that in that lotus position. And that lady probably thought that her whole life, that she had to be stiff and plan it. And yeah, it's really, it's not like that at all. And I wish, people need to understand that it's not something you have to go take a college course to learn how to do.
Exactly. And I said to her, do you remember, have you seen, she had kids, and she also used to run a kindergarten where she saw this when she was younger. And she said, yes, that was That was really, and sometimes I do that as well. I just fade away from the conversation. And I said, that's because you need that peace and calmness. You need to get away. It's too much for your brain. You need to ground and you need to be centered. And that's a sign. That's a sign to you that you really need this. And you can do it. Just try to close your eyes and see what you can see from within your eyelids. Have you ever seen white spots, some colors? And
Yes, yes.
focus on your breathing, because your thoughts will go everywhere. They will run everywhere, and you will be stressed out and thinking, now I should do that, now I should go to the
Yeah.
fridge, and what if the light is on and or not on, and what if the oven is on, and just accept these thoughts and let it go, and be more focused on your breathing.
It's
And
great advice. Yeah, it's great advice, Jane, and I really want to hear what Jason has to say about it. But it's like one thing I got to bring up. When I was growing up too, it seems like kids were always told, anytime that they were relaxing, or I'd see anybody relax, or I would just be spacing out, just kind of getting those moments, spacing out. Oh well, yeah. What are you doing? You're not thinking anything productive. Quit spacing out. Why don't you think of something important? And and that just we need that. There's nothing wrong with doing that, and it's just, it seems like we're so dissuaded from doing that kind of thing that we get programmed. It's like we get so programmed that we feel guilty about relaxing even ever.
you're having some people say that, oh, he's doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's just closing your eyes, doing nothing. And what if nothing is having a conversation with the prime creator?
Yeah.
And that would be really productive for this person, and maybe the whole family, and maybe the whole city. You don't know that. And having a conversation with prime creator, or grounding to yourself, is really very important. It's a natural state from before we were born, even in the mother's womb. It's Jason, do you have what take do you have on this?
I mean, I think that if you look at it, initially we were beings that were created for rituals, and this is very, very interesting, because when you just look at the word human being, right, it speaks to the dual nature and the reality of who we are. Human is animal. That's part of who and what I am, and being is spirit or soul or light body. Right? So you get, I think a lot of the times you can even see this in philosophy, you see this in economic models where they will tend to look at one side and neglect the other. Give some examples for a minute on how we are very, very different from the animal kingdom. Human beings get to a very, very low point where they get depressed and then say, you know what, that's it. My boyfriend, my girlfriend left me, have nowhere to turn. I'm just going to commit suicide. Animals don't do that. Animals don't have suicidal thoughts. They don't commit suicide. People can talk about lemmings, jumping off of cliffs. They're wired in their DNA to actually head in a certain direction. They don't do this. Even a little bitty ant that's on Larry's desk right now. If Larry was to try to put his thumb on that ant, the ant is like, "Come on, you want a piece of me? Let's go." Because the ant, that's what's instinctual in him, is to survive and to pass on that genetic material. You take, for example, clothing. We develop clothing, elaborate clothing, and clothing talks about different things, social status amongst people, the way we eat our food, the way you set the table, the napkin and the spoon and the fork goes here. It's a ritual. Even the way that we make love to one another with, candlelight and Barry Manilow music in the background, or whatever, floats your boat.
The Copacabana, yeah.
So it's ritual, and when you talk about ritual here, what I'm talking about is feeding the light body, feeding the spirit, feeding the soul, and that being expressed. You do not find art and poetry amongst the animal kingdom. Yeah, they have shown, bonobos that have, took some kind of collar and strike something on a cave, or elephants that have actually been taught to paint in Thailand, but these things were instructed to them. But the human being has this expression of art and of poetry. So where I'm coming at here is, I think that today, that because the human being is a spiritual creature and is a light being dealing with the 3D existence, right, in this physical form, is people are looking at all of the various religious traditions today. I think people are very, very hungry. They're looking for something spiritually. But when they look at this buffet, there's a table, there's this huge buffet, all kinds of foods that you can imagine to eat, but none of that is appealing to the appetite. None of that is appealing. Because when you look at all of that, there's either something about it that this doesn't resonate with me or make sense. And what I'm talking about today is all of the great faith traditions of humanity. You know, you look at people who are practicing this or that tradition. So this is where I'm seeing that people are moving away from that. But as I was talking to Larry earlier, Jane, I was saying that, you know, it's like when someone changes a car, they're not actually denying that, look, I see the purpose and usefulness of a car. I'm just changing from this car to another car because I feel that it has better features. I feel that this car better suits me and my needs. So what I'm seeing today is that people are not giving up faith in the divine or faith in God and prime creator. They're just moving away from traditions that no longer serve them, traditions that talk about fear and judgment and these type of things. But now when we talk about meditation, there are different kind of things that people can do. There was this guy called Houston Smith, and he wrote a book on world religions. And Houston Smith is a very interesting man. He actually tries to practice all of the traditions. And I met this lady once who told me, you know, I'm a seeker. I'm looking at all the different religions, but I don't know which one's right. My advice to her was this. I said, why don't you embrace Christianity, don't question any of the doctrines, just practice it and see how it feels. Then after that, you go embrace Judaism and see how it feels. Don't question the doctrines, just see what it feels like to be a practicing Jew or a practicing Christian, a practicing Muslim, a practicing Buddhist, or a practicing Hindu. How does it feel to you when you take on these rituals and these different forms that they use to connect to source, to prime creator? So there's no one size fits all. That's why some people can be in a lotus position. You can get people who are lying at their side. I mean, right, you look at, for example, in the Islamic tradition, people have to do different postures during their prayer. Now, obviously, if someone was in a combat and they lost their legs on a mine, they're not able to do that. So but the tradition still says you have a way to connect to the source. You can still connect to the divine. So it may be a bunch of people coming together and humming, or or meditating silently or quietly. And this is the beauty. It's a salad bowl. You know, a salad bowl where all of the original ingredients are encouraged to preserve their original taste and flavor. So it's what resonates with you. There can be many different paths to get to that source, and this is the beauty of it, is that expression. And I really truly believe that this is something that the human being longs for, is some kind of ritual connection to other human beings. They also need that time alone to connect to source and collectively to connect to source. And it's not necessarily one particular way or style. It's what resonates with you, what resonates within your being and your soul.
Yeah, I agree, because it's the same objective. At the end of the day, it's the same objective when you're dealing with that. You know, we all want that peace and that freedom and that love, and you know, we need to respect each other for our differences, but at the same time, you know, work together, and you know, and we can learn a lot from each other in that when we open our mind and actually listen instead of, you know, talk with our ears.
Right. I mean, yes, please go ahead, Jane.
Oh, could you hear my breath? My breath? I was thinking about the group now. I was thinking about Pleiadians because as a collective, and in this group, I think we have done all the people being there, bless them all, so much love.
Much love, yeah.
And I think, I've been so amazed by the group because there have been so many disagreements and many discussions, and that is much needed also, and in a great way and in a nice language, and so many people are trying to help each other, and it's so nice to see. There have been some differences where we have to get into the situation and do something about it. Because I think some people coming in new to the Pleiadian as a member have been on other different sites in the internet and done some heavy discussions and um, just gone out of it because this doesn't resonate, as you said, Jason, it doesn't resonate with this person. So it is in search of coming to another group, trying to discuss again. And uh, there have been new members, always new members, who's not quite familiar with the rules of the group. And also creating some situation that doesn't vibrate on a high frequency. And that's very important to remember that we need to vibrate in a high state of frequency, always be caring for each other because, as I said before, we all have our wounds before we come into the Pleiadians and out of this world and into the group. And we need to respect each other and give love and understanding, be more acceptable to people, accept and understanding. And in that way, we can also respect and love. And we're sisters and brothers. We're supposed to help each other. And I think the group have done such a great job in doing so. And also, we as admins of the group try to remind these people of who we are and which state we want to stay in and why we created the group and what it's all about.
I think you brought up a good point, Jane, and I think we're really starting to see the influence of us and them as well. Everybody is that, you know, you may have a little bit of a disagreement, but it's over with real quick,
Yeah.
you know, and there's no judgment after that. You know, it's just like, okay, we did it, we moved on, but it isn't like there's no even frame of the mind of an ego of, oh, well, yeah, I don't like him, or oh, he did this one time, or even the little disagreements that are starting to come about now that aren't very much anymore. I mean, it's just over quick, and it's getting to be more and more like that. And I think it's really important that we keep that high vibration. I know, Jane, you and I talked about this, and Jason and I have too, is that you got to get that high vibration. That doesn't mean, you know, you need to help everybody too, but if somebody's really trying to drag you down in your vibration, and no judgment against them, you know, maybe love from a distance is the better way, because we're at a point right now where we really need to keep that high frequency vibration going as much as we can. Yeah.
You know, if you're in the middle of a lake and you really don't know how to swim and your boat is scuttled, you know, your boat has got a hole in it, you've jumped out of the boat and you don't know how to swim, you're in no position to save other people who are drowning. So you come in contact with people who try to lower your frequency and your vibration through their own low vibrations and frequencies. That does not mean that you do not love them, because you always love them and you love everyone. There's a recognition there that at that moment you do not neither have the energy or the resources or the ability to reach out and help them. And that's just understanding the context and the situation. You know, if I'm sure anybody here who, if there was a car accident and someone was really deeply injured, if you had the medical knowledge and the ability, you would go and assist and help them. Anyone would do that. Any person who has a heart would do that. But if you do not, then you do what you are capable of doing in that situation. So when you get the skill set and you have the ability to be able to deal with those kind of lower vibrations and frequencies, then you come back and you're able to deal with it. There's nothing wrong with, you know, washing your hands of a situation and saying, I have a family member, I have a brother or sister or a parent or a sibling or even a child or a coworker or whomever, that, you know, you have the right to say, look, I don't like the energy that you bring. I don't like how you make me feel about myself. You don't even necessarily have to say that to them, actually. Just that you keep that to yourself and separate yourself from the situation. The important thing is that your energy remains strong, remains vibrant, remains consistent, and then whenever you're able to raise that more and more and more, you're going to find that these things will actually affect you less and less and less.
And
It's
Jason,
all,
I want to ask Jason real quick. Sorry, Jason, do you think that that's been a major problem with humanity over the generations? Is that we don't allow? I mean, it sounds we may think it sounds selfish, but we don't allow ourselves to do that. That we don't allow ourselves to do that out of guilt, and then all we end up doing is hurting ourselves and everybody else more. We don't let ourselves have that freedom to break away for a while. I don't know. It just seems like we're our own worst enemy with that too. We can be really nasty and mean to somebody, but we can also hurt them too by not giving them that space and not backing ourselves off and giving ourselves that freedom to do that.
Jane, you wanted to say something, please?
no, I was just listening. So.
This again is going back to the project of the living library and the differences. And again, it might seem like I'm veering off topic, but one of the bad blood between the reptilians and the Pleiadians was basically the decision to select mammals on Earth over the reptilian kingdom for the ascension that was given, and putting them in the forefront of the living library. And other sentient civilizations that actually came from the reptilian kingdom, they didn't like that. The other thing that they didn't like was that they actually felt that we had to undergo the process that other civilizations did. You have to understand that not everybody else in the universe was those who are listening to this conversation. Not everybody else in the universe were master geneticists or people who were doing that. They had an origin themselves, and those who came from them had an origin. So there was a difference in, should humanity be given a jump start, or should humanity sort of be sort of grounded, if you will? Like, you're going to have to earn this. And this is where you get the duality that entered, was from a different perspective that felt we needed that in order to overcome and prove our place in the higher realm, in the higher scheme of things, that we actually needed to go through this. Ego was introduced so that things wouldn't come easy, but we have the ability to overcome that I. Look, for example, look at the animals. You take some seeds out of your pocket, you throw it on the ground at a park. What do the birds do? Is there some big giant male bird that goes to the female bird and says, "Well, after you, madame"? No. Do the birds, everyone is pecking away because me, I, and fear. There's not going to be enough. I better get mine because, the other birds are coming. Same way if you go and throw a bunch of nuts before the squirrels. You don't see that. But we as human beings, and this is very interesting, we can actually sit down together and have a plate of rice and vegetables and all put our hands in that same plate and eat it together. You see where I'm going with that? That is a very simple analogy of much greater things, of where we can learn to share, or we can put other people before ourselves. I've actually sat down in Singapore with Bengali construction workers, and it was very interesting because they had some chicken and gravy and rice, and some of the people, you actually watch them, they will take bigger pieces of the chicken and they actually push it towards other people. In other words, I prefer you over myself.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a great thing. What you're saying, Jason, is really that God doesn't have a religion. And what I was coming from when I was talking about the Pleiadians and all the people in the group is, like, they're discussing matters. They're discussing religion and politics and great people, politicians, and money systems, where they're living at and how it is in the place they're living. And I think it's very important to understand that we can give each other love and make a difference between matter and person. It's very important not to hurt people, because the message that they're posting is important for them, and we need to respect that. We need to try understand it, be a bit puzzled, ask questions, because we're all in this together and we are one. We need to understand that it's like being in a great body where you are one cell and I am the other, and in the end, whereas I am coming from, we are going to act upon a common thought at the same time in the end.
No, it's true.
It's that vast, it's that big, because there is really no religion from where I'm coming from. There is only love. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you believe. As long as you love each other and we cannot do something. It's only in this 3D world that you can do something for yourself. Whatever you're doing for yourself is really also to others. If you are mean to yourself, you will be mean to others. If you love yourself, you will be loving to another person, and thought and all that. We're talking about thought and speech and whatever you are giving out, you will receive back.
We're our own worst enemy and our own savior at the same time. But yeah, anyway, sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
No, I was just wanting to say that, I'm sure both of you have spent some time in the kitchen. What is the purpose of a sift? Why do you want to sift? Why do people sift things when they add ingredients when they cook? What do you guys think? What is the purpose and function of sifting? Sifting flour, for example.
When you say, do you mean that I gotta admit I'm embarrassed. What does that term mean, sifting? Actually, is it?
Do you understand, Jane, what I mean by that?
No, I'm not sure. I was sort of waiting for Larry to.
Does it mean measure it out, Jace, or is it kind of like?
Okay, imagine like you have something that is like a mesh wire, which has smaller holes through it, right? So what that does is it prevents bigger pieces from going through it, correct?
Yeah, yes. I'm with you now. Yeah, I'm with you.
Just for our education, Jane, what is the term for it in Norwegian?
Soft. So it's very close to the word. But I was yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you gather berries from your garden, different kind of berries. You sift. Was that the word you're using? Yeah,
Yes.
You can cook it, and you can gather everything into a cloth in the end, and you can add sugar to it or some kind of sweet thing, and you can also mix it with water and drink it. As you can,
yes.
That is the essence of something that's it's to get the taste of something out of the berries.
Exactly.
Okay.
We call it soft in Norwegian, and some call it juice, or but it's the essence of the taste that you get out of the berries. Yeah.
Now I want to say something about that. What she said, that's very beautiful. The essence of the taste. Wow. The essence of the taste.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that one sometime.
And you better go and copyright that while you still can, Jane.
I know.
Larry's writing it down. But here's another example. What's the purpose of a filter? And just think about coffee filter. Why would you put a filter, right? Because who wants all of that, all of the granules and so forth in their coffee? It wouldn't taste very nice, would it?
Yuck.
So what I'm saying is that in all the stuff that Jane just mentioned about, because it is true, Prime Creator doesn't have a religion. If Prime Creator had a religion, it would simply be love, as was said before. That's it. But if you're taking these different traditions, you're using your consciousness and your heart and your mind as a sift and as a filter. You take what's beautiful and good and you leave, with all due respect, the BS behind. That which resonates with you in your heart and mind, do unto others as you would have them do to you. This is very beautiful. It's a Christian teaching. Muslims say if you go to bed at night and your neighbor is starving, you are not a Muslim. That's a nice teaching to have. Don't consider yourself a believer while your neighbor is starving. Namaste. The God, when the God in me recognizes the God in you, and the place where you are meant to be and the place where I'm meant to be are there, we have that mutual recognition for. So you have all of this. right? So those things, you accept that, you take that in. If that resonates in your heart and consciousness, that's fine. But if you start talking about, a caste system, and people who have very light skin are at the top of the caste, and people who have very dark skin are at the bottom of the caste, and then you start talking about, eternal hellfire and these kind of things, yeah, that doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't. My heart and my consciousness, tend to say that these are the granules that I don't want in my coffee because I don't think it tastes nice. But the point is, out of all of those traditions, is, as Jane so eloquently put it, is to get the essence of the taste. The essence of the taste of what? Of Source, of Prime Creator.
Yeah, and that's love. Um, in addition to that, I think I told also Jerry. No, I think I told also Larry even um, uh, about me making medication at home.
Yes, I was
For
really
yeah,
fascinated by when you
it's
were
for
telling me that.
self-use,
Yeah.
really. You cannot find anything in this world, in this earth, that didn't come from earth. So you got to also remember that everything that you're doing and everything you are wearing, everything you take in, everything you breathe, everything is coming from this earth, and the earth is sustaining us. If you get into that, it's really deep. And about the medications I'm making, it's coming from the nature. I'm out in the nature picking it, or I have a plant that I take when Jason talking about essence, I'm using, for instance, say rosemary. I'm using that plant, I'm squeezing it and crushing it and to pieces, and taking all the ingredients, mix it with alcohol, and shake it twice a day for 1 minute in a period of time, like 60 days, for instance. And excuse me, and after 60 days, I do as Jason said. I'm taking out the ingredient. I'm taking taking it out in a cloth and twist it around and keeping the essence of the plant in that medication. And it
Hmm.
goes for flu and fever and muscle pains and all of these things. But there is there has this. You cannot take much of it because it's an essence. People think that, oh, you make like wine or something. It's not a shot. You cannot take so much that you want. You need to follow the descriptions because this can really be poisoning to you. This this is supposed to heal you. It's supposed to help you overcome your symptoms and your illness. But if you take too much of it, it will really kill you. It could be really bad. I'm making also medications from the trees that is thin, it's making your blood thinner. Of course, if you take too much of that, your vessels will blast. It will be ripped off and you will die. It's that important. And I think, yeah, if you look at the nature, it has the power of both killing you and sustain you. It's always about learning how to use it.
What I was really impressed, Jane, about you, though, and I know I said it a whole bunch of times, was the love. Mother Nature has all that stuff, but really it's about the love of, you really put a lot of love into every step with the whether it's the fermentation of it, whether it's the mixing of it. You really got to show it that love to get it to that point of being able to help. It's
Of
basically,
course,
yeah.
but when I shake that bottle 2 times a day, I put my intentions into it. I think about it. I want the one I give it to be healed, and that my intentions, my thoughts my words and everything when I'm doing this, it's like just like a ritual. And also when you make food, think about what Jason said. If you're making food at home for your family
Mm.
or for yourself or for a party, you want people to like it. So I even stir clockwise, spinning like the earth is spinning. Um, Towards one directions and having my thoughts and my taste and my ingredients and my spice and my herbs and everything, tasting it little by little as it gets finished because I want it to taste good. I put my intentions to it. And yeah, you have to do that in life. That is life and that is love for everyone. And I think if everybody does that and thinks that about the persons they get in touch with, like a blessing, you bless this, whatever you have in front of you. You have to know how to be grateful for what you have. You never know when it's ripped away from you. How do you do if it gets ripped away from its things? I'm not taking anything with me in the grave. That's what we say in Norway. Some of us say that, and I use that very often.
Yes.
I don't have any pockets
One or two of us in America.
that I'm going to the grave with. So I'm not connected in that sense with any of my things. In 1 year, I'm moving away from here, and I'm not taking anything. And 3 years ago, I didn't have even a bed to sleep in. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't need to be so attached to that because I think if you can live without it,
You can't keep it with you either, and you're not going to be able to, Prime Creator doesn't sell real estate up there, so, I mean, it's, it's really, yeah, it's really something, and,
yeah, but it's true. You have to know that you can create things, and you have to just trust your own power, and
within yourself, yeah.
It's easy for me to say living in Norway because I can always say, yeah, but you live in Norway, so I'm living in Norway, so it will be all okay. And if I cannot help myself, someone else will. But living in a place where there is great poorness, I think we should try that. I think we should try that. It could be really challenging, as he said also about fasting. I was really fascinated about what you said, Jason, because I never thought about fasting like that. About you connect with the fellow beings who are starving to pieces. I thought that was beautiful. I never thought about that. I will try that. I think it was, oh, that's a lovely thought.
I did it once, and it was because of Jason's suggestion. Before I went on that first radio show, we were talking, and days before, and I was really nervous, and he had mentioned it to me, or it was something I was going through, and I actually did it for almost 2 days, and it didn't go through along with it, but I got that initial, at least a little feeling of those hunger pains and acknowledging that, and actually, hey, this is what I've got, and it's hard for me to explain it because it was such a spiritual experience, even though it was really quick. That, yeah.
I mean, if people are going to, sorry, I don't know if is this coming in clearly?
Yes, sir.
If we are going to be talking about, Ascension and 3D versus 4D and 5D living and so forth, well, that in all honesty, what greater example do you need than this issue of how of fasting? Because if you are constantly at, you basically should be master of your stomach. Your stomach shouldn't be master of you, and especially if you are a light worker or a light being, and if you're talking about 4D and 5D living. And don't get me wrong, because again, to each their own. But especially when we have brothers and sisters out there who are breatharians, they've clearly showed other people that, to be honest with you, I don't think I'm ready for that particular lifestyle, and I don't think that it is something that resonates with me, although I think it is a beautiful way to approach things. But I definitely do recognize and understand that need for us to be able to make the body lighter and more dense. And I will tell you that usually when I fast, the first day that I fast, all I can think about is food, and it actually becomes quite torturous. And the second day, it's usually food and women. So it's food and women. And then the third day, though, you actually feel very light, and you actually have an extra bounce in your step. And believe it or not, you have more energy.
It's interesting you would say that. So, Jason, that second day when you're going through the hardest part of it, you're kicking into gear in your mind that, okay, that other thing that you want, it just really, I mean, you're looking for any outlet before it finally breaks through, right, to get rid of that.
Yeah, because the body is telling you, it's got an existence and it's got a reality, and it's saying, don't ignore me, or don't ignore that I'm here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or I mean, even more now. Now you get to think about this too, aka the women. But you know what I mean? It's like fighting back at you, kind of.
Yes, but what happens is you eventually, and here's the interesting thing, right? I mean, this is the whole point of fasting and abstaining, is to be able to learn, like I was saying earlier, either you are going to be in control of yourself, or someone or something else is. And that's anything, whether it be a religious, ideological, philosophical, a husband, a wife, a job, someone telling you that this is who you can be or who you can't be. So it all starts with, if you're not able to master your 3D form, if you're not able to tell your stomach when it says, hey, I want a burger right now, if you can't just tell your stomach, no, you're not going to have one right now, then, to be honest with you, and I don't mean to be rude to anyone listening to this, I'm just speaking from the heart and out of love, we're not going to get very far. Whether or not you decide to take on a certain type of lifestyle or dietary approach is one thing. But I'll share something with you guys as well, is that when you talk about this issue of diet, most of us, we think about what we eat, but here's an interesting thing too. We actually don't think about when we eat. And the digestive system, the stomach, is actually, right, there are 24 hours in a day, and it is divided by 3 of the 8-hour periods. The best time to actually eat heavy foods is from 12 noon until about 7 or 8 p.m. in the evening. Why is that? Is because what meals do most people tend to have at that time? Lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, from the 8 p.m. until 4 a.m., most quote-unquote normal people, except for me, you, and Jane, are
Yeah.
are sleeping at that time. So, your body is fasting. And when you look at the word breakfast, that's what it actually is. It's a composite of 2 words, break, fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were sleeping, you weren't eating, you were fasting. So from that period of 8 to 4, that if you're going to take anything, maybe liquids. And then from 4 in the morning until noon, you basically just take liquids. Because why is, from that time period, your body is actually, your body is actually cleansing itself every day. That's why the cells are regenerating. That's why you go and urinate or defecate. That's why you sweat. Your body is going through this process of cleansing on a daily basis. But by changing the times in which you are eating, along with what you are eating, that will actually accelerate that even faster. And see, this is the interesting thing. When they go and the anthropologists go and they dig up these bones of people who lived in Sweden and Norway, thousands of years ago, or the Aborigines in Australia, what's interesting, Larry and Jane? They look at their skulls and their teeth are still intact. Their teeth are still intact. I mean, these people actually, they didn't have cavities in their teeth. They didn't have mouths filled with metal and gold and silver and all this. They knew what to eat. They knew when to eat. They knew how to live and how to die. They were in perfect harmony with the world around them. They had this.
They didn't have dental equipment like they do now. You're right. Yeah, exactly. It was done through pure consciousness and good nature, and yeah.
So that serves the purpose of, I think that the issue of fasting, and if you look at it, it's actually common in all of the traditions. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, they all have, it comes up. So that, to me, when you have different kinds of traditions that don't necessarily agree on the same things, but there's a common theme amongst them, that actually jumps out at me and says, bingo, that's a huge flashing light that's telling me, like, look, these traditions don't necessarily have a history of getting along, but they all tend to agree on this point that fasting is necessary in order for you to achieve higher spiritual objectives. Because what you're doing is you're putting the light body and the spirit body in charge of the physical body. You're actually telling the physical body, look, I'm the one in control, the real I, the real me, not this vehicle that I'm in the meantime. And the second thing is that what Jane was just talking about, you actually feel what our brothers and sisters on this planet are feeling. When someone else is feeling that hunger pangs in their stomach, that Vietnam vet who fought in the Vietnam War, and he's homeless on the streets of San Francisco or LA, and he's looking for a meal for the day. You know what that's like to be him. You know what that's like for someone in quote unquote a third world country who doesn't got anything to eat. So you feel that hunger pangs in your stomach, and it also causes you to appreciate the foods that you eat. I'm telling you, and to anyone listening to this, you see for yourself. You fast for a day, whatever you eat in the evening, or when you decide to break your fast, that's going to be like one of the most tastiest meals you ever ate, because that appreciation is there.
Right. I totally agree with you. And there is an Arcturian, his name is on YouTube, Arcturus Ra. He's talking about Ascension foods, and also coming into what Jason is saying about the time when you eat and what you eat. And it's all about getting into the situation of contact with yourself, with the depth of yourself. And it's really very important to understand that to get into this state of mind, it's all about ascension. It's all about light body and how to get used to not eating that dense, heavy food. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's not wrong to eat meat if that resonates with you. If you really need that, it could be because of lack of information or knowledge, or what you should eat to cover up all the vitamins that you need during the day. That is fine too. But in the process of getting to what kind of food and what you can start, that's a nice way to start off, knowing what to eat and when to eat. That's a good way of starting.
I like what Jason had to say about when, that those certain hours when that he picked when you should eat, during supper and lunch. It seems like in the West, a lot of people are inundated with, well, you better eat a bunch in the morning. Like they're always real keen on a big, heavy calorie breakfast. And I've been one that has never been hungry. I don't get hungry in the mornings for some reason. I never have. I've never been the type to have an appetite in the morning, but it seems like society has always, to me, made it sound like you got to get right up and stuff yourself in the morning, and you shouldn't eat anything more than a semi-satisfying meal the rest of the day because it'll stick with you at night. And it just always never resonated with me, because it's like my grandparents and people around me, oh, you got to stuff yourself in the morning, and you get up, and even if I was starving to death, it's hard to even get an appetite in the morning when you first get up for me. So, it's...
Because a lot of that stuff is just in our conscious, in our mind. A lot of the times we're really not hungry. It's just we become conditioned, and that's really what we are. We're no longer wild animals as we used to be. We've become conditioned animals. I mean, look at a cat. A cat doesn't look at an alarm clock and say, well, I better get to bed. I need to sleep for these next few hours. A cat sleeps when it's sleepy. So then we get into this conditioned cycle that we put ourselves in of, this is the this is the time that I sleep, and this time I'm supposed to be awake because this is the way we've structured our society. But when you look at there's that which is conditioned and that which is natural. Just to kind of veer off for a second and then come back onto food, the issue of clothing and nudity. I mean, we're all born, naked. That's the way it is. And you'll see young children at parks where people have, water hoses, and the children are naked, 3, 4 years old of age, and they don't think anything of it. It's later on when priests and pastors and imams and so forth came into different places in the world and started saying, well, look, you're naked and that's wrong and that's sinful. That's programmed. It's not natural. So being in a natural state of what you eat is one thing. What you eat, that in and of itself can differ from person to person and from group to group. This is why I was saying on the previous program, vegetarians can say, well, I'm a vegetarian, at least I don't eat meat. I'm not like those horrible meat eaters. But, at the same token, people who are breatharians, who are maybe quote unquote on another higher level of diet, could say to people who are vegetarians, well, how could you still kill living things? You're uprooting those vegetables from the earth. You're taking the fruits from the tree. So this is a matter again about people being respectful towards one another, understanding where people are at and their levels of ascension and understanding and what works for you. The Dalai Lama eats meat. His doctor told him if you don't eat meat, you're going to have a big problem with your diet. This debate is an old debate. It goes back and forth. You can go to any forum and see arguments and counter arguments to no end. You can see people who are vegans and vegetarians, and they'll tell you one day, you know what, I realized that I needed to have some meat. I needed to have other sources of iron, so I started to eat meat. And then you'll see people who said, look, I just couldn't take this. I mean, the truth of the matter is, whether you decide to take let's say you incorporate meat and you take what's called the paleo diet. Paleo diet is you basically eat meat, fruits, and vegetables. If you take that approach, then it would make sense to eat ritually slaughtered meat, basically those which the kosher meat that the Jewish handle, or halal meat that the Muslims handle, or in the United States we have Amish and Mennonite communities, because they usually have free range animals and don't subject the animals to the horrific thing, because for them life is sacred. Even though those of us who may be vegetarians may dislike the fact that they're taking the life of an animal, the fact of the matter is they're taking the life of the animal with respect. It's not a factory process of, a chicken is going down a conveyor belt, next, and there's no honor and there's no sacredness involved. There's an energy of respect and an energy of love, of love and respect towards that creature. So again, it's what is resonating with you, and then also what's working for your body and your diet. If you're in a situation where taking this particular approach is not working for you or making you feel weak or fatigued, then you need to change that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you touch also the sleeping. I'm thinking about the sleeping patterns. I know that many people ascending, or in this ascension times, it's like before we had. At least speaking for myself, I had this sleeping pattern. I don't have that anymore, unless I'm going to, even if I'm going to work, because I'm working shift times, day and nights and evenings, and my off time I could be sleeping until 3 o'clock in the day, and eating at the same time. It's hard to go by the time, and I think that applies to very much people around this earth, in fact. But I'm thinking also, the wise thing for me would be to grab something, just a little bit, and eat during the day, very small meals, not filling up the stomach, but eating all the day, little by little, to keep you from going for the sweet things. Because I don't think you don't need the sweet things anymore, really.
Yeah,
It's
and
just,
if you also incorporate this with intermittent fasting, you will actually be more healthier and live longer, because what will happen is the body starts to recognize that it's not getting certain nutrients or the meals that you're usually used to feeding it, and it starts to break down the fats and the different things in the body, and that is very helpful. They did these studies on laboratory mice in which those mice that ate less actually lived longer than those mice that ate more. So they did these, so I guess that's the old saying, less is more, right? My grandmother used to have this saying, the fastest way to hell is through the kitchen, so I mean, I see where she was going with that, right? Because that's where we tend to get all that cholesterol and all that, and there you go, and you're done.
Yeah, that's what we used to say to the men in Norway when we yeah, your place is in the kitchen where you well, okay. The answer is yeah, that's where the knives are kept. Just to remember it. Did you understand that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Being
I'm actually taking it in. I was just listening. And, yeah.
Larry in a sandwich.
Yeah, that's true.
All this talk about food, he was like, damn it, I need a sandwich.
Yeah.
So, Kesson, you said something about when you were talking about fasting, and you said the first and the second and the third day, and you said all you can think about is food the first day, and the second day you were thinking about food and women, and
Right.
I'm going for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very nice. If you're talking about what you're thinking about women, okay, and food, and the second day uh, being light, and I'm puzzled about that because what kind of state are you in that day?
I mean,
What
it,
is
it, it can be different from for each person, but this is what I'm relating for me as an individual, my experience, and I had an amazing amount of energy at that time because I myself, before going through a different stage of my life, I practiced different faith traditions. I come from an evangelical Christian background. From that, I went into the Islamic tradition, and on, and then many things I haven't told about myself, but each of those traditions also have different practices which I thought were quite useful and helpful, and I could see where they have these different dimensions that do open up. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where you take the good and you leave behind the bad. Ultimately, I had to leave those things behind because they didn't serve me, and all this talk of judgment and hellfire. But fasting in particular is something that is very useful and beneficial to everyone regardless. I mean, it has so many different facets, um, that it's useful for breaking down things within the body. The digestive tract, the stomach, probably is one of the most overworked organs in the body, so it gives it a rest. It gives it a chance to be able to recuperate, to rejuvenate itself as well. And just from the spiritual dimension, that fact that rather than your body becoming a master over you, you're becoming a master over the body. From that other aspect of being connected towards humanity, those people who are going through suffering and so forth. And I think it helps you to appreciate these things are going to be necessary, because what we were talking about earlier, Jane and Larry, that if and when this grid goes down, the current control grid, and people are in this state of panic, like I said, you're not just going to be able to run down to a fast food place or 7-Eleven or a grocery store. So you're going to have to learn how to, quote unquote, tighten that belt. And when you go back to when humanity was, according to anthropologists, we were hunters and gatherers. Think about that. Think about a time when we didn't have grocery stores and fast foods and people moved from place to place. There were probably times of feasting where we had big meals, or someone would capture a big elk or a deer and we ate, and we had these fruits and berries and nuts. And then there were times when we probably just ate very little or we fasted. So that was the state of the early people. And this is what, I forget the gentleman's name, but he advocates the paleo diet, in which he talks about intermittent fasting. That means a few days of eating and then a few days of fasting. A few days of eating, he goes on and off like that. And at 40 plus years of age, he has an amazing appearance and youthfulness and a lot of energy.
I have a question for you, Jason. Uh, Fasting, does that include not drinking water?
Yeah, in this case, you wouldn't drink water, your mouth would be parched as well, and that also serves part of it. It's very challenging, but I also say it's very rewarding. Again, if you are in a situation, and for those who are listening, like if you have low blood sugar, or if you are taking medications, or if you have medical advice, again, it's what resonates with you. You don't want to put yourself in any situation that's going to be dangerous to you or be a harm to you, right? You don't want to do that. But if you're able to do this and able to take that, it is definitely going to be rewarding for you.
Wow.
That's something to think. I'm very glad that you brought up this the last thing that you did with having conditions, having health conditions to also think about, because those would be excluded from fasting if not. And how can they do it? How can they get into a situation of whereas they still need to have control over their health condition in this? Do
I
you have any?
mean, those people who are having, because again, you don't impose a reality upon them or a situation upon them that's going to be dangerous to their health. So this is what I was saying. Those people wouldn't do that, or they would try to find some other alternatives. That's why there's many different ways towards ascension and many different things that people can do. So it's not for everybody. So you could do something like this, where you get up early in the morning, you have maybe like 2 dates and a banana, okay, and then maybe you drink a few glasses of water. Then for the whole day, for the duration that is sunlight, or you can set time different. Maybe you want to do 10 hours today, or 12 hours, or 13 hours, and you will find the first 1 day or two, like I said, the first 2 days or so, it will be difficult. But after that, it's going to be much, much easier for you, because especially when you occupy yourself with things, you're at work, you're busy around the house. If you were just sitting in a room all day, yeah, it's going to be very challenging. I'm not going to deny that. But you'll find that once you're busy with work and busy with your routine, again, it's a matter of the subconscious. It's a matter of the willpower over the body. Um, May I share something with you and Larry and the listeners in
Yeah,
regards to this? Was from a movie that I'm sure both of you are familiar with. You guys ever watched or heard of Frank Herbert's Dune?
Yes.
no.
It's
Uh,
been years, though. Yeah, I just remember there's a character named Salusa in it, too.
okay, Jane, it's Dune, Dune, and later when we talk on Facebook, I'll share with you the link. There's an interesting scene in the movie where this guy who is the Duke's son, he's being examined by this woman who's a Bene Gesserit witch. They're basically awaiting the arrival of this super being, a being that will be born, and they hope they can control him. So anyways, during this interview process, no one is around. And the woman says to the man, "Put your hand in this box. It's a black box." And he said, "What will I feel if I put my hand in the box?" And the woman says to him, "You're going to feel pain." Of course he wants to withdraw his hand, but then she puts a needle with poison at his throat. "If you remove your hand from this box, I'm going to inject you with this poison." So he has no choice but to leave his hand in the box. As he is doing this, the woman is describing how his flesh is peeling off of his bones, and the heat, and he can literally feel this. He can feel this heat. She's actually creating this image in his mind where his hand is being burnt. It comes to a point where he can't take it anymore, and he screams the pain, and he withdraws his hand from the box, only to see that there is nothing wrong with his hand at all. And she said, "Don't worry, this experiment only kills animals." And the man gets offended, and he's saying, "Are you saying that the Duke's son is an animal?" And she responds, "No, I'm merely suggesting that you might be human. Because your instinct is to remove your hand from the box. But your mind is telling you the moment you do that, that will be the cause of your death." So what happens is we actually have the ability to overcome our instincts. That's very powerful.
Very powerful. Wow.
Yes, it's this. I can only go back to what I said earlier. When you passionately create, which does not exist, when you think about it, you create it. You have that power within yourself. So also, so you don't have to have anyone create it for you. You can do you create that yourself. I think that's good. I think that's I really need to see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very powerful scene, and there's a lot of things in there that relate to consciousness and so forth. Like for example, in the book series, and this is quite interesting and actually relates a lot to some of what the Pleiadians tell us. They have something called the Butlerian Jihad, which is the galaxy actually comes together and declares a war against sentient machines. And so what happens is human beings have to develop their processing power, and there are human beings who are known as mentats, and they can actually calculate and process information faster than computers because they have to develop that ability because calculating machines become outlawed because of a situation where AI becomes very dangerous to other civilizations. So there's a lot of things in there that really are relevant to the things that we're dealing with today. And that's also, I would like to talk to you and Larry about this, what we were talking about earlier, about setting up communities, about the Light Grid project. There are so many people, I don't know about yourself and Larry, but many people will message me and say, okay, what's the next step? I found this page. I'm connecting with amazing people. I'm feeling the love and the vibrancy, but it's, what are the instructions? Okay, I've been led here. I'm thankful for that. I found this community that I can resonate with, but what's next?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it all begins with you. It all begins with me, and you have to start thinking what's next and plan for what you're going to do. And I think also having a great thought and having a great plan is very nice. But you also want to see. I think most of people want to see what does this do with me and the people around me, and can I expand as one get this first step done, and it works for you. Why shouldn't it work for all? If you have that power of the mind and you can do things, and as you said also, Jason, we're going to do this all by ourselves. We're not. It's the Pleiadians is not going to do it for us. At least we need to get to the part and start doing it, just to manifest the way, the state of mind that we really can cope. We did before. We lived close to the nature before, and why can we do that? It would be hard to do it in the start. I think it's a very satisfying way of living.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the reason why we try to establish a light grid and the communities is because, in all honesty, some of these people, like Blue Rays, like Larry, I mean, he's very, very fortunate in his life, as are you. And some people, I'm going to tell you from experience, weren't so fortunate, and I can talk a bit about that. And people who are indigo children, because these people who do have these gifts, which everybody does have, but they were born innate with the ability to act upon their gifts. And there are forces out there and people out there that would try to manipulate such people, and they need to be able to have a safe haven and a safe harbor. The fact of the matter is humanity sometimes is afraid of the unknown, and you may be using your abilities to go out and help and to heal and do amazing things, and this is only going to reaffirm other belief systems out there that say, see, I told you, these people are the Antichrist, or they're demonic, or they're vile, or they're evil. And there might be people out there who can take, the abuse and so forth, and there are other people out there who said, I've had enough of the abuse. I've only been faced with abuse my whole entire life in order for me to grow as a person and as an individual. And this is interesting because there are some people who need to be put in a situation of torment and abuse, and what I mean by that is facing challenges, a lot of challenges in their life, so they can grow as individuals. And there are some people who've had so much of that, they're at a breaking point. They need to be in a situation that is nurturing and supportive of them. Larry?
Yeah.
Wants to stay with us. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Jason. It's you only know how far you will go when you're pushed into a situation that you are forced to do something, and you can go even further. I think we're able to do whatever we set our minds to, and there will be times when someone will put you down, but at the same time, I think we do have the power. We do have the power to overcome these people as well, or to show off what we have done previously. But I think it's important to take the first step, and I would so much appreciate if we can put something out there, ideas and everything, because I think we do have in our society so many people who says that you cannot do this, it's not possible. When someone is trying to do something, you shouldn't disturb the one trying and the one doing it when it seems to be possible.
Larry, any thoughts?
You were basically in control. We control our own destinies, and and it's I'm just kind of deep into thought right now, just enjoying the conversation. You go ahead, man.
Well, you guys remember what we put up on the page for the Light Grid project, right? Would it be okay if I shared this information with the listeners? Once again, for those who didn't have the opportunity to hear, just some ideas about how we could try to make this manifest and what it would be about.
Oh,
yes. Perfect.
Okay, starting from the top for those of our listeners, and this is what came to me and what I'm trying to convey to others and how we can get this going, is that we as starseeds are tasked to hold the frequency and light and to increase the vibration of planet Earth. So we ask you to partake in the Light Grid project. We are aiming to establish a website with mirrors in other languages. We would like to set up a council of elders, and what this would be, the council of elders, I envision as being people like Marian Rada and the Honorable Leah Shapiro, Barbara Marcianic, and others who are channelers, if they've had the time and the ability just to give direction, or for people to refer to in really, really urgent and dire matters, just whatever time that they could. So we would invite those who've had direct contact and who have also had been channeled by the Pleiadians to give guidance and direction to the starseeds. Leadership provides continuity and stability, but people are not bound by the decisions of the council, as Earth is a free will zone. Ideally, we'd also like to set up a council of healers. There are people who are dealing with, we see it many times in the Pleiadian channel, people are dealing with dark energies, a divorce, an abusive husband or abusive wife or whatever it may be. They need some healing. They need someone there who can help them through these difficult times. So the Light Grid project would consist of various forums on various topics of interest. So you could have intellectual discussions and personal experiences with the Pleiadians. There would be a recommended reading list. People could do random acts of kindness. You need people who can sing, who can do poetry and art, because you can heal people through these methods. We need people who can share information on alternative healing to combat crippling diseases. We need to share information on nutrition and Ascension foods without being judgmental of other people's dietary choices. Some of us are looking for loved ones and partners. So, for example, some people are wanting to find a husband or a wife, or more than one husband or more than one wife, or a twin flame, or whatever it may be. Um, some of us need to know even simple things like how to get out of debt and save the electric bill. Very basic 3D things that could help somebody out of a time of distress. We need to share information and encourage others to get off the current energy grid. So we need people who can talk about alternative energy. We need to bring back barter and trade and establish an alternative to the current economic models that have become reckless and based upon self-preservation. So based upon this, we would like to invite all of those who are listening to, partake in this if it resonates with you, if you feel that this is a necessary step that we need to take, and what you can contribute. And believe me, each and every one of us can contribute something. There are people out there who are homeless. They need a place to stay. Can one of us offer, someone, a fellow human being, a place to stay for a few nights? So this is something that I'm working on in the back burner and trying to have this website and forum. And some people have had, very tragic experiences with beings that are not aligned to the light, and they need understanding. They need an understanding heart and an attentive ear. So these are just some things to throw out there for you and Larry, and for the listeners as well. I mean, it would be great if we had a situation where people could call in, and give their ideas, but just, the feedback on this. This is what I'm hoping we can take these things, because everybody has something that can contribute. And I think that these are steps into making this a reality, to having things like a Pleiadian Woodstock, or annual gatherings and meetings and different things that help raise the vibration and frequency of individuals, of groups, of communities and cities, and different places on the earth that really need love and healing, like the situation in Texas recently. To be prepared to focus that love and light on the next area in the world in which is really needing this kind of focused love and light. I know that was a lot that I said there, but I would love to hear the comments from you guys.
No, I definitely agree with you, Jason. I mean, I don't really have a lot to add, except for that I appreciate all that you do, all the knowledge that you've shared with us, and I've learned a lot. And yeah, everybody's got something they can contribute, and there is so much out there to be contributed. It doesn't matter whether it's poetry, whether it's cooking, whether it's anything, music of all kinds, any kind of instrument, writing, artwork. It goes on and on and on, and I'm sure several different things that could be contributed that we don't even think about. But there's so much diversity and love and talent to share out there amongst the Starseed and Pleiadian communities.
For those listening, and I want to hear Jane comment on this as well, do yourself a favor one day. Take a pencil and a piece of paper, and when you're going down to the store to get a carton of milk, or forget it, maybe you're a vegan, you don't drink milk, so you're going to go and get some fruits, right? Think of all the people that you have to be thankful for that makes that possible along the way. Now, you're either taking a bicycle or a car, so you have to be thankful for the person who invented the wheel, the person who makes wheels, the people who make the bicycle, the person who invented an engine, the person who makes the spark plug, the person who makes the car, the people who invented refrigeration, the people who milk the cows, the people who invented bottles, the people who put the milk inside of the bottles, and on and on and on. It's almost an infinite list. That may be an exaggeration, but it's a huge list of people of saying, you know what, thank you, because you made this possible. Just look around your house or your apartment or your trailer right now. Look at all the things that are there in that place. That didn't come from one mind and one person. Everybody has something that they can contribute. People need storytellers. A lot of the times in our society, when a person gets old, we're like, well, you know what, their body's breaking down and they're useless, so let's just put them in an old folks' home and out of sight. In traditional cultures, the Native Americans, the Aborigines, people in Africa, and even our ancestors in Europe would sit around bonfires, and the elders would tell people stories. These stories would encourage people to be more noble and to be more helpful. So everybody is needed. Everybody has something that they can contribute.
No question about it. Yeah, and I think the more people would want to contribute in a situation like that, where you know.
I was thinking about having the enthusiasm or encouragement to do all this. I think that the Thrive, the film on YouTube about Thrive, it's called Thrive. I think it's very important to look at that because they come up with so much information and so many ideas how you can do things, and also the the other movements, the other groups or ideas or films, the new um, yeah, there is so much on YouTube you can watch to just get some ideas on how to start or list up, as Jesse said. It's and there is many ideas to connect with people. So I would love to see that on Facebook also. And the list goes on and on. I'm sure there's so many people having so many ideas out there. The
You
New
know,
Earth project is also very nice to look at their videos and have so much ideas, and I'm sure there is no one who's useless.
yeah, absolutely. There's no such thing as a useless human being. I mean, we might think that sometimes of certain, politicians, but even they are the products of, their surroundings and their environment and what they've had to engage with. And sometimes we should actually be empathetic to their plight. But, you know, when we talk about setting up this project and doing this, as I was saying to Larry and to you and to others as well, it's very important. People need to realize we're not a religion. We're not a cult. If you could have someone, for example, who says, you know what, I don't believe in aliens, I don't believe in extraterrestrials, but I believe that Earth is definitely in need of alternative energy. Well, we can still work with such people, because what happens sometimes is people have these, come together with groups and ideas, and then it becomes all or nothing. But if you have overlapping interests and those interests coincide, then let's work together. You don't necessarily have to imbibe, the entirety of our philosophy and our outlook on things. And like Larry was saying earlier, we're not the mob or the mafia or the Church of Scientology. We're not Hotel California. Once you check in, you can never leave. People who come into such communities can be free to come and go. Just while you're there, you contribute what you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Wow.
think there is no such thing as being disabled because uh, you can be as disabled as you want to. If you don't have feet, you have hands. If you don't have feet or hands, you have a brain, and you can contribute in any way. And we have no one to lose. And every person who's coming to the group and connecting with us has something to contribute to. So to the group and to the whole. So there is a reason why everyone is here, and it's a very special time. And I think people that has some limits put upon them, I think that is because people like who don't see themselves as limited in any way should be thinking of how grateful you should be that you don't have these limitations, and also learn from the other people who has limitations. It's very important because there is always something to do.
Absolutely. If you both would excuse me just for a minute, I'm going to step out for about 2 minutes and come right back. Is that fine?
Hurry back, we miss you already. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Ken.
Yeah, what are you thinking about this, Larry? Do you have something to say?
Usually I'm never at a loss for words ever. I think that it's just great that we're conversing like this, and yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with everything being said, and I'm kind of just taking it in as an all-known consciousness, and yeah, it just goes back to the point that all our issues, anything that we struggle with per se in our life, or anything that we achieve, and shortcomings that we think we may have, it's really not anybody else's fault. It's within us. You know what I mean? Those demons are to solve within us. The great things that may come to us are because of us.
Yeah, and I think me and you and Jason now have brought up some topics and bringing it on to all the other listeners and to the group and to the members and to the earth, that we are moving on and trying to make a difference and trying in loving and in a caring way without being so afraid of what's coming. I think it's important to state that also hate is there and sadness is there, and staying in a positive thought and doing something, starting to create, even if you don't feel that you are the one who needs to start. You don't need to feel obligated to start something. You can start a thought and bring it on. And if you have some ideas, that would be terrific. Just being there, seeing it, reading it, and be amazed by it. That is also giving out so much energy. Remember that we need each other, and whatever you can do, that is great. Just listening or putting out ideas will be amazing, because this is a time of change, and we will see so much change in the future regarding to this sustainable way of living. I think it's going to be great, and everything should be just a loving thought.
It really should, and we really need to learn to trust in one another too, and love one another without judgment. But yet that doesn't mean get walked on or get looked over. It's just kind of a different state of consciousness. It's an all-knowing, and there's going to come a time, like you said, we're going to need to see how we get along with each other under those extreme conditions. And maybe that's the whole key right there to everything. When we learn to love each other like that and really mean it, maybe that's when we graduate. Who knows?
That's graduation. That is graduation.
Tassel and gap and count in hand. Well, not quite, but yes.
I mean, it's can manifest these things into a reality just by, we've got together, I think, and I know there are websites out there, but we need to have websites in which we have databases of all of these other things that people can use and resources. And again, I would propose, where people can share just what they have. Like I said, for example, hey, I live in this country. If you're visiting here, I could give you a few days of accommodation, take care of your, accommodation and your food while you're here. Maybe that may lift some burden off some person or something. Just what I can contribute, what I can do. I can help you with this. Again, it's that idea of, those we see on the internet, acts of kindness. Yeah. Where people are doing random acts of kindness without asking anything in return, because they know what the universe will give them is 10 times more than what any individual person can give them. So what can we contribute? What can we come together and how can we make this as a reality. And I'm hoping when people listen to this show, they'll really resonate a lot with what we've all been saying and talking about. And I just also wanted to make it clear to the Honorable Leah Shapiro that we're always indebted to you and we love you so very much with all of our heart. And we hope that you're continuing to be blessed by those who love us from on high, and that your music and success will be just abundantly blessed and go out and touch many others and inspire them. Because the reason why I wanted to say that is I also wanted the Honorable Leah Shapiro to know that for me personally, I don't have any plans of abandoning the mothership, but I do think that people are gathering to the mothership. But here's the thing: there is the statement that idle minds is a devil's playground. So people need to be able to say, look, I've reconnected with my star family. That is so amazing. I'm so happy to be here. But as I said earlier, what next? And people want to be able to feel connected and be a part of the community and what they can contribute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really feel like that too. And much love, Leah. You know, we're definitely indebted to you. And I mean, this thing is moving forward. And you know, it's like, what next? You're right. We're still in that position where we've got to, you know, there's things to be done. And you know, sometimes that's always the worry is what to do next. But hopefully, Prime Creator will continue to guide us and just keep us in that direction. And you know, and just by being one with each other and moving towards that. You know?
The future cannot be predicted. It can only be created, and we're doing that in the now.
Yep. We really are. And you know, on that too, as funny as it sounds, by doing the right thing in the now moment too, we can actually, on a certain level, change some of the past for the better too. That doesn't mean dwell at all on the past, but you know, when we do the right thing in the now moment, we fix a lot of things, or you know, we definitely get on that route too.
Yes. Jane's in a deep thought right now.
Yeah, like I was a little bit ago, kind of a meditationary kind of a thought. And yeah, like Jason, while it was fresh in my mind what you were saying, and I remember when you first talked about it, about maybe opening up your house and stuff, or doing what you can to somebody who, you know, maybe wants to. I was thinking, like, you know, people that want to see like a certain part of the world they've never had a chance to. Maybe it's somebody that wants to go to Scandinavia. Maybe it's somebody that wants to go to the UK, Pacific Northwest, Singapore, wherever, Canada. You know, what a great opportunity that would provide for somebody just to have a getaway like that and open up their home to have that person relax and, you know, just see a different part of the world. You know, those are things to consider too.
You see, all of these ideas that we've discussed, if you break them down, someone else has already come up with some kind of idea similar to that, and that's fine. That's beautiful. But what I'm talking about is bringing all of these together under one roof, and all that synergy. Because just this idea, for example, there's something called couch surfers, where people allow people to come and stay on their couch, or you know, stay in a room, you know, because they need that for a few nights. But bringing all of this, you know, people who need to direct towards homeless shelters or someplace that can help them to get jobs and job interviews and get them gainfully employed. There are starseeds out there who are like, look, you know, I don't want to be married to a religious fundamentalist or an atheist who's going to be a very crass asshole. I'd like to find another starseed who I resonate with, and I'd like to, you know, be connected with that person. I want them to be my twin flame or the love of my life, you know. So these people, we can all try to come together and see how we can help one another like that.
And it has to be that way because, like you said, I mean, we're not advocating somebody taking somebody in and getting a bunch of people that are going to be your couch surfer for, and usually, by the way, it ends up being more than a couple of days. But yeah, I know what you meant, man. But yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about opening up your heart, and at the same time, those people coming into your home, opening up your heart and doing this as a collective. But you're right, it's got to be done as a collective to, you know, to make this work. We can't just have a couple people inviting people to come move in with them and stay forevermore. Unless, Jason, you're interested in doing that. But no, yes, but yeah, you know, well, I just want to make that clear that we're just advocating love and going to that next level with each other and not, you know, hey, come on in.
Well, yeah, mi casa su casa, you know, that's...
Yeah.
I totally agree, and I would be also The first one on air, and I will be the first one opening up my home for anyone who is in Norway and in the north. I will be glad to accommodate. I will be very happy. It will be, oh, that would be just great. If someone came here to visit me, I would be welcoming them and showing them around if they want to.
Yeah.
That would be nice. You know, Larry, you're so welcome, and so you, Jason. I told you this before, and
Oh,
yes.
I've got plans. I'm coming.
I know, Jason. I was wondering if you can see her right now. Can you see her eyes and the blue in the background? It just looks beautifully angelic, Pleiadian, Scandinavia, kind of a indigo in that background, and then her eyes setting that off. That's like
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That is really wild and angelic, and yeah.
Oh, let me tell you this. Can you see the window behind me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, and it's. Let me also tell you, it's almost 10:30 in the evening now.
And it's still that light coming. Wow,
Yeah.
really?
It's
Huh.
a starship. That's a starship.
Yeah, and the Aurora Borealis, they're both visiting you. It's just shipping. Yeah, you got the divine with you there, girl.
I'm looking at the sky and still, yeah, it's cloudy, but it's blue and yeah, different shades of gray. In fact.
It's really. What time did you say it was right now over there?
It's almost 10:30. It's 10:21 in the evening, p.m. Yeah.
Oh, wow. In the dead of summer here, maybe a couple days it'll ever get close to being 10 o'clock. Not even that light out still, really.
Yeah, but now it's cloudy. So if it wasn't so cloudy, it would be even brighter. Yeah.
Cry me a river.
Cry.
Yeah, crying. Yeah. Yeah, wow. Huh.
Yeah. So welcome. And in the summer, we also have the midnight sun, you know. So we have a hard time putting kids to bed. For
I
those
bet.
small,
I bet.
but I think it's daytime all day and all night. There is you cannot say to a child that it's 8 o'clock in the evening and you need to go to bed. So eat your food, brush your teeth, and go to bed.
Oh, you
And
can't
that's
do that in America. I can imagine there.
What?
I said, you can't even do that in America. I can imagine there where it stays that light out even way later. I bet it's really a challenge to do that, to get them to buy
Yeah,
into
kids, they don't understand. They understand the darkness of the night and they need to sleep and they get tired. But they don't get tired. They don't get sleepy in the summer because it's bright and light all night, all day. So it's a challenge, yes.
all night and all day. How late does it get in the how late does it stay light out, Jane, in the say highest point of the year, I guess, you know?
Well, in June,
Yeah.
we still have another month to go, or even more. It would be bright and light outside all day and night. It's not getting any darker than this.
Really, like in a whole 24-hour period.
Yes,
Wow.
that's so it's so hard to put these kids to bed because you need to have this session with long talks and try to make them understand that there is a difference between winter and summer.
Do you have
So
a flip side to that where it's dark a lot longer, say, even than maybe we have over here? I mean, in the dead of winter, does it stay dark a lot longer?
yes, you walk to your work every morning. It's dark, and
Mm.
it doesn't become light before 11 o'clock in the daytime. And when you walk away from work again at 4 or 5 o'clock, it's dark. It's pitch dark.
Okay.
So we have very very few hours where there is light in the winter. Yeah, and it's lasting for a long time. So I guess it adds up with the summer.
Wow, so it stays dark out till way into the late morning. So what, like you're saying, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, it's still kind of dark out even on those
Yes.
days? And then just as soon as it is, it's...
4 hours in the day, it's daylight in the winter. But then again, it's broad daylight all night, all day in the summer. It doesn't get dark because if the sun is up and there's no clouds in the air, it's you can see the sun just dipping to the horizon and then coming up again. It's never dark.
Whereas in the dead of winter, you're looking at 4 to 6 hours of daylight, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
If that much.
Yeah.
Depends on the weather also. Is it cloudy? If it's cloudy, then it's also dark.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then again, we have snow. We didn't have snow this winter, but every other winter we have snow, so that kind of brightens it up a little bit.
You don't get a lot of snow per se where you're at comparatively to the rest of Scandinavia, do you? Because I think of it, you know, in my stereotype in my mind, I think of it snowing a lot there in the winter that it would. But you're by the ocean too, so.
Yeah, I'm by the ocean and very close to the Gulf Stream. So and it's raining a lot and it's blowing a lot. So the snow wouldn't stay for a very long time unless.
Boy, that don't sound at all like the Northwest coast at all. Yeah, exactly. The snow don't stay long if it comes because it melts because of the rain, and you got all that wind coming in, and the streams, and yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
But more inside of the country, it's more snow and colder also.
Ooh, I bet.
Yes. But welcome to Norway, everyone. And
yeah.
there will be a place for you. You don't have to pay all this lots of money, but Norway is an expensive country. Having all this oil, and we didn't talk about the oil and all this what we take out from the earth at this moment, but we do benefit as a country. They do benefit a whole lot from being an oil country, and so the prices are very high. You don't need to pay anything to stay with me.
Are you inviting everybody up there to drill for some oil? Because, you know, us Americans, we like to go anywhere we can. We'll drill and drill till we can drill, and we'll keep drilling. I'm kidding, but, you know, yeah.
Yeah, it's either you invite us or we just come and take it. I mean,
we're just gonna. Yeah, you got any other resources you can have? We'll keep. You got any artifacts we can maybe hold on to for a while? You got any opiate drops or any other things we could? And we just want to help out.
Have you guys got the spaceship before you going to get me? Because I'm not so sure that I would want to be this cleaning person.
Are you want to get into it? Jane, are you interested in things that deal with oil?
What? Say again?
Are you interested in dealing with maybe a new spaceship that deals with using a lot of oil out of the ground?
No. I would prefer it going by thought, by the speed of thought.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that I'm used to, you know. It's too slow and dense as it is now.
Is Norway a democracy?
Yes.
All right, because I was gonna say if it wasn't, we were gonna come over there and install democracy, whether you guys like it or not.
Yeah, and if you don't have a propped up dictator to get rid of, don't worry, we'll bring one for you. We'll invent one for you, and we'll get rid of him. And yeah.
When it comes to politics, and they're currently discussing whether or not we are going to continue having a royal family or president.
That went away like yesterday.
On the radio about that topic. So getting into that, Norway wants to think about the citizens of Norway. They like to think that this is a democracy.
Yeah, well, maybe you need to get another royal family. You don't have enough of them. Maybe you get a second one for the northern region. What do you think? And they can live off the country for, $1 billion a year, not have to pay for anything, and wave to everybody. It's really a noble, sensible, humanitarian idea to have a royal family that's better than everybody, and we look at it like that. It's always made a lot of sense to me to have a bunch of lizards running the show with the crown on.
Well, I'm not thinking about them as such. I think your country, Larry and Jason,
yes,
from before, have a president that is guarded most of the time by so many security guards. The royal family in Norway are most of the time very left alone, and they can even walk the streets. I don't think they need so much, and even up here, if they come up north, they don't need any security guard.
And they keep a low profile too. They're not out in the world really, look at me, look at me, look at me.
No, but still their task is to represent the people, and I think they do a great job in such. They do represent the people because they're traveling around the country, so they get to see and know lots of things. Then again, there is many people doing the same who could do this job very well. I don't think we need any politicians or religious group to rule our world. As Jason and you have said so many times, as long as you can do it with love, and as long as it could be one and equal, I think that's enough, really. As long as you can create and you do it for the best of everything and for the good of everyone, and also knowing that it is for the best and for the good of this earth, to not take more than you can handle, not take more than you need, and be grateful and bless the nature for what you take from it.
So is it true that you yourself are a big, huge fan of the British royal family? You yourself are a really huge historical fan of them being around and getting you would like to see them even have power over your Scandinavia a little bit to help you guys, would you not? Is that what Jane?
Are you talking about me or
No, I'm talking to you, Jane. Yeah, I was just giving you a bad time, Jane. I was just saying that you've got a reputation as a huge British royal family supporter there, and you want them to come even kind of oversee Scandinavia.
I would like to have a talk with pep talk with the royal family. I have so many questions for this family. I think I would give them a really hard time. Because they're also going with us, when the grid is down. So
they suck. I'm just going to put it that way. You can take my allotted questions and you can ask them. I don't have any desire to even think about them. I grew up with a stepmom that was in love with them and had all their trinkets, and yeah, I just don't vibe with the king and queen, and I don't think we need to get into that. But they can come visit your house. They can come.
Anyone who wishes.
Yes.
To have accommodation and go to Norway for different reasons. I think they will feel my energy, and I think they will feel if they don't vibrate don't have to vibrate in my level, but need to be kind and loving and supportive to the rest of the world. And I think that they wouldn't. If you are not friendly, I think that you would be not feeling very well in my home with me. So I think it would be not pleasant to be here with me.
No, your energy. You're right about your energy. Yeah.
So what kind of what kind of energy would it create, Jane, to like wake up at 3 in the morning and you hear some noises in the kitchen? You go down there and there's Larry, raiding your refrigerator. What kind of energy?
That would happen totally, like sitting there with the door open for a half hour, spacing out in the refrigerator.
I will strongly refer to this conversation and what Jason have been saying about eating at night. No, I'm just joking.
I know. I used to have a bad habit of doing that, though. Sit there and eat a gallon of ice cream in the door of the fridge, half asleep.
No, that wouldn't be any problem.
I put it in the cupboard when I was about done with it. You ever put ice cream back in the cupboard before, half asleep eating it? No?
No, but I have been putting my watch inside there, being too sleepy, and find different things that shouldn't be where they are at, and thinking, oh my God, I have families in my house and small little people, and having so much fun because I cannot find my stuff.
Yeah.
I have so much stuff, and all of a sudden I find them, and I'm still thinking that I have fairies in my house.
Yes.
I'm sure of it.
At least they're not putting ice cream in the cupboard, though, instead of the freezer. When they're...
I think between him in the refrigerator at 3 a.m. in the morning and watching the entire season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine with the volume on the TV at full blast, and all you got to do is just come downstairs and hand him a pair of headphones and just say, these were invented for a reason. The rest of us would like to get some sleep around here.
That's funny because I can't sleep when there's a TV vibing like that too. I'd be like somebody downstairs listening to that. It's like I can hear. It's like I'd rather have them have. I can hear the vibration of the damn thing louder than they can right next to it. It's weird. I used to have this thing about the TV outside the wall of the bedroom.
I think Larry would have experienced me in the same way, so it could also be annoying for him. It's all about if Larry could provide me with an arm and laying in his armpit, having I could join him really.
I put up with TV loud.
I think that's very cozy and romantic as well. So I would enjoy that. It's a great idea, Jason. I would say,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You sleepy, though, Jane. You're one of them few starseeds that hit the pillow and go to sleep. I mean, would a TV bug you outside of your, like, if you're trying to sleep and rest and, like, the TV was on the other side of the wall and somebody had it on, that used to really bother me a lot, and it was the vibration of it more so than the sound. I'd be like, turn it down, and they'd have it, my ex-wife and the kids would have it turned down as much as you could get it, but I could hear it louder in there because the vibration would be messing with me. I don't know. But I'm an anal picky bitch too when I'm tired. So.
Did you guys both get a message from Leah just now?
Nope. I don't know. I'm not logged into Facebook, bro.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you just ask it out of nowhere randomly?
She just sent me a message saying, "How come Sierra and Kathleen are not on this channel with you guys?" And that both of them are going to be basically not, they're going to have their chocolate pudding privileges revoked for the next 2 weeks because this is admin bonding time. They're supposed to be here. So, yeah, if they're listening.
Yeah, exactly. Come on in. This was kind of just on the fly, and we just have been flowing through consciousness and, second and third winds, and yeah. Wow.
And Larry being stressed and and me getting all stressed because I can get into this, and oh my God,
and Jason staying calm through all these computer problems earlier.
It has been so much, but I would really like to bring him on. Haven't. Yeah.
I wasn't really that calm. There's a shredded teddy bear that I'm going to need to replace.
In your younger days, we might have even heard some expletives yelled, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Now,
Doug, you did a great job, man. You did a great job, really, bro. I mean, 5 years ago, I would have yelled the F word as loud as I could, and I'm not into violence, but punched the door maybe even, and I mean, it was, Yeah.
Who is watching the page right now? The silence is deafening.
Well, you know what? Hey, then, well, good God, Sierra and somebody, Kathleen, better be damn well watching it then if they're not. Yeah. How did they know we were here, though? How did they know?
That is a good question.
I think Leah knows everything.
No, she does, but this is I wonder. That's really odd because we haven't sent it forward yet, even though it's taping right now and it's on there. Yes,
I think because people are listening to on the air program.
Yes. Do you think anybody's listening to us right now?
People that don't have anything else going on.
Yeah, I didn't need the government. Let's get all parent the government. It'd be honoring. I mean, if they're that bored, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, if Interpol was listening.
I mean, if
send them love.
Send Interpol love. Yes. Just don't record VCR movies and try to sell them, or remember the warning on the old VCR tapes? Duplication of this can be punished by $250,000 fine or 10 years in prison.
All I know is that if the T3 robot comes into Jane's room and grabs her, I'm going to take this box of mushrooms I got and get the hell out of here.
No, really, I know. The blue is a warning. It's getting blue in her room. The blues are coming. Yeah.
There are nothing evil forces coming near me. And as I always used to say, I'm working with old people in an elderly home sometimes, and there is so many of the workers are scared of people who are dying and coming back to this earth and doing all this stuff. And I said, don't be afraid. I'm here. Nothing is going to happen. Nobody dares to go in front of me. And if they do, please do so. I don't. It's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. They're not messing.
Usually at nighttime when I go to bed, I always wear my favorite T-shirt, which says "The light is gonna get you."
I like it. That's cool. Oh.
The light is gonna get you.
Jane's the blue light is gonna get you. Look at that. The blue light special is gonna get you.
I think that's good. Did you have that made for you, or did you buy it somewhere?
Yeah, I had that. I had that made for me.
Oh.
I just had it, the place that does printed T-shirts. So I thought, the light is gonna get you. Why not?
What color is it, Jason? What's the color scheme on it?
It's like a turquoise blue, and then the lettering is in white, and then it has like a little bit of rays coming off the letters.
That's cool. Wow, that's really cool.
Did you take a picture of that night?
No, really, when you can sometimes, seriously. Yeah, I wouldn't mind, just for the hell of it, show it to the group. Hey.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to get a picture of that and put it up.
I think that's wonderful. Yeah. I like
that would be cool. That would be cool in the back. Jason, that'd be cool for you to have that on with Jane's background, that blue that was before she had the light on, that kind of blue twilight.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah, and with her eyes, that was pretty cool.
Oh, I just came up with an idea whilst you were talking about maybe we should copy. What do you think about that, Larry?
About what's that, sweetheart?
Copy that shirt, and that would really unite. And send out some message.
Yeah, that shirt should be like Jason should patent it actually, because like he might show it and a bunch of people might go down and have one made.
And I'm going to use that to fund our Pleiadian Woodstock.
Oh, that's great.
That would be a great idea. That too, and even that logo on the page and things like that for and then you get people go, oh, what are you guys out to make money? No, once you get money involved, and if people kill me sometimes it's because it's like you could be selling something for cheaper than it costs you to make it.
Yeah, I mean,
this isn't money.
I just was thinking, if everybody shows up at the Pleiadian Woodstock, everyone gets one of these complimentary T-shirts, a toothbrush and some toothpaste,
Yeah.
and a
I
little.
hope, yeah, go ahead.
You hope what, Jane? What about me being
No,
naked?
I was thinking about the toothpaste.
Some toothbrush, a toothpaste, a flannel for his face. We good.
I just hope that when it's all said and done, there's no one, regretting it all, sitting there, in their living room and saying, you know what, I went to Pleiadian Woodstock and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
All I got was this lousy T-shirt. I got a parting gift. Door number 2. Yeah, I got this. At least they didn't get a month's supply of turtle wax. It's all crusty.
I was also thinking too, is as a parting gift, I could have another shirt made, with a picture of our extraterrestrial friends on there. And if things don't go according to plan, the back of the shirt will say, maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
Maybe a long time. Yeah, that's not one you want. Yeah, that'd be a bittersweet thing to talk about missing the frickin' boat. Man.
I think we've been seeing so much alien stuff at the Woodstock Festival.
Totally. It's going to be totally cool. Hybrid, alien type of cool civilization mix. It's going to be great.
I think so.
It's
Stay
going to be
sober.
psychedelic and funkadelic and tripodelic and trichonica metonica. Yeah, our souls are all going to be psychedelicized by the Pleiadians for sure.
absolutely. I know it.
Yeah. Did you hear that? I know it. He said, yeah, I know it.
I know it. Jane, don't you want your soul psychedelicized by
Yes.
Good.
DMT. That's good. And also other things. But I will set the limits for.
It'd be good again. I think Jason and I probably have already had our souls psychedelicized at a younger age, but that's another story. But we're, it's all a collective, and we're willing to do it again with the Pleiadians. We'll get it done right this time.
What are you using?
What?
What's the plan?
What's what from?
What's the plan? What are you using?
Well, we're just going to use cosmic love and energy with the Pleiadians. That though, whatever was 20 years ago is another story. But
We want to do this Light Grid project, have a website that's under a name, and we have representation speak to the government of Iceland or whatever township, the mayor and the proper people. Tell them that we're planning to hold this function here at this time. We want to know what are their rules and regulations so we can abide by the stipulations. Let them know that we're not going to be, a rowdy group of people, that we're going to be respectful, but we plan on having one hell of a good time. And a very good time. And basically have different activities and functions. You'll have different booths going on where people can be selling their arts and crafts that are there, exchanging with one another. Just a great time for the Starseeds to meet up with one another and have love and funkadelic celebration. You can have activities for the kids and the children. There can be canoeing. People can be doing, some camping out there. We can have different tents like Mongolian yurts, which people are under these massive tents, or individuals. You can have a stage set up. We can have Leah Shapiro there with her music. You can have Marian Rada giving us a talk. I mean, many different things that could be going on. I mean, the sky is not the limit. The sky is not the limit.
Not at all. And when we address the mayor, it'll be, of course, probably of a town close by called maybe, Jane, listen close, Reykjavik. Remember, we went over this the other night. That's how we call it in America, Reykjavik.
Reykjavik.
Yeah, what did you try telling me it was called? Reykjavik, you guys call it?
Reykjavik.
Never heard of it. Sounds like something in Russian. Reykjavik. I watched ABC Sports. They told me it was Reykjavik, Iceland. We're here in Reykjavik, Iceland.
I'm just there for the love.
Just for the love from the people.
Can you say it? How do you say it, Jason?
I say it like the people of Iceland say it.
How? How's that?
I'm having these voice problems again on this mic.
Reykjavik.
Yeah, he's going to plead the fifth on that, okay?
Like,
Pronounced as
that is very interesting. I've never heard it pronounced like that. I'm not surprised, but it's just from what I understand, hearing it in American culture, I've always thought I was hearing it as Reykjavik. Not that we talk a whole hell of a lot about it in America, believe me. I could probably count on two hands how many times I've heard it ever mentioned in our media for anything, you know.
Iceland has been mentioned a total of 2 times in the history of America. Which is a good thing. That's a very good thing. Being under the radar of the U.S. government is always a good thing.
Yes, I would console our friends from Iceland and tell them that it's not such a bad thing. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Yes, they're not missing.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, they're not missing out. Yes, they are definitely not missing out on anything.
oh, they were driving was that CIA or FBI out of the country?
Oh, same thing.
Just missing them out of the country.
Yes,
They
we would miss them too.
They were going to do some investigations, I heard,
Wow.
and then they were just dismissed. Just
They were going to come up there and do some investigations?
what? Yeah, they were doing something. They were going to do something, some investigation or something, economic situation. I don't know what it was.
Well,
but
this could be fake. Maybe you could open up your home to a bunch of CIA agents and FBI agents.
Yeah, something I don't know the difference. I don't even know what it is.
They both
There was
love
some
you.
investigations, yeah, and they were intruding, so they were dismissed, just tossed out. We
Just
don't want
know
to.
this, they're both on the up and up and the down and down.
They're all bad news.
Yeah, really. If you want to break it down simply, yeah, that about sums it up.
But I'm on a very positive note here that our friends will make a manifestation when you've got thousands of people from all over the world converging on this spot in Iceland. Iceland is the only nation on the earth that doesn't have a military. They've chased out the banksters who are robbing people of the money. And they are basically, no particular country right now is absolutely ideal, but if you're going to break it down, it's most ideal out of everything else that's out there. And you have everybody out there resonating, there's going to be more. You will see. You will see. And for the starseeds who are listening, you're going to see when things that are going on around this world that are sad and tragic, and we focus love and light in that direction, you're going to see what's going to happen. So if you see these things manifest and come into being, and that will happen, you can only imagine when we're there. This may not be full disclosure for the entire planet, but I'm telling you this right now, when we're there with our open hearts of love and light, that's going to attract some very, very beautiful attention.
Exactly. And that people were like at first saying, well, Iceland, it's so far away, it's so remote. And then, and then I talked to Jason again about it. He reminded me about how that country is the only one on the goddamn planet, let's face it right now, that really even gives half of a shit about its people as a collective, to be honest. And what a great place. I mean, that to me would be the perfect place to have something like that. I mean, Iceland really has set the example, and they do it so humbly. They don't ask for attention. They're not out, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me around the world. In fact, they don't even want to be known, I don't think, and I don't blame them.
And just imagine.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Jane, please.
I'm sure. I'm sure they don't want the attention. They want to be left alone and do their thing and make it work. And it's working.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. Imagine when you care and you're attentive to your people's needs. What happens? Huh.
And it's really cheap there also. Everything is really cheap. So, yeah.
So ideally, what we need to be looking at is a representative to be able to approach the particular location we look at. We need to look at a location. Actually, one or even a group of us would probably even need to go before we do this, rightly, to look at the place, to see what would be there, to pick an ideal location that would absolutely just be very beautiful in and of itself and just really resonate with the beauty of nature. We have a flowing river nearby, lakes, mountains, beautiful rolling hills and plains, and look at the logistics, because there are many things that you need to take into consideration, like if people get hurt or injured, there needs to be access to a nearby medical facility. But again, I'm doing this to reassure people, but I'm 100% confident that no one is going to be injured during such an event, and I'm also 100% confident for myself that should someone be in a situation where they're injured, you would see something miraculous happen. However, for other people who may not resonate with that, that's fine. Then you need to also reassure them that, okay, you have what is familiar for you that will be available.
I wonder how many places, Jason, when you look at Iceland on a world map, if you could kind of think in your mind, how comparatively to a U.S. state, I mean, what United States state by itself would be about the size of an Iceland? I'm wondering.
I don't know offhand, but I would assume a safe bet would be like Pennsylvania, Ohio,
Yeah.
combined, and maybe like West Virginia.
Right.
And those are actually quite large when you think about it as well. It takes some time to drive across those states.
Well, big time. I mean, only thing really bigger is like Texas and a couple states like that. But yeah, Pennsylvania, that seems about right.
I mean, our globe, anyways, is a Eurocentric globe, anyhow, which is told through the lenses of, for the most part, Europeans, and that's why, they have it as they do. I mean, Greenland, it looks much bigger than what it really is. Africa basically looks small, and that continent is huge. It's tremendously huge. It dwarfs the North American continent in reality. So a lot of those things are distorted for its own geopolitical reasons anyways, but yeah, I would imagine Iceland is actually much larger than what it would appear on the map.
Good point.
And
Reykjavik is big.
What's that?
Reykjavik.
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a city. I don't know how many citizens they have, but yeah, we can check it out.
Iceland?
Larry?
Yeah, did you say it was a city in Iceland?
Yeah.
That's again, I was thinking only Reykjavik because I thought, okay, they probably only got the only major airport there, and then somewhere a few hours at most outside of there, or a couple hours, but I've never even heard of this other place you're talking about. I feel kind of American hick.
Again, the thing is they're not going to deter anyone who has a valid visa or passport. It's just a matter of allaying concerns that we're not going to be like who was our friend from California, who they followed the asteroid when they came, or the comet. Yeah. Heaven's Gate. We just need to make sure that, look, we're not Heaven's Gate, we're not Jim Jones. Everything's going to be cool here, and we're going to be respectful of your laws and regulations.
We're not even Alex Jones. I mean, so yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we're not even Alex. And he's probably going to be there covering it. Who knows? But
he'll be Jane will be his escort for the weekend. Alex Jones.
I've never been there before.
No, Alex at the Pleiadian Woodstock. Alex Jones, might be there to cover it. The guy that interviewed Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
You could be his escort for the weekend. Show him around.
Yeah.
Let him know that everything's going to be okay. Yes. Nothing to get hyped up about or.
Rockabye, yeah.
I think there is people from Iceland in our Pleiadian group.
Yes.
Do we have any Icelanders in our group, really?
Yes, I think I added some. Yeah,
I've never noticed it.
Yes.
Have you?
What's that? Yeah, we do have.
Yes, we do. So I think we should put out a post and see if they respond to it. How many people from Iceland is here, and see if they can post some pictures and come up with some ideas. I think that would be great.
You know, while we're
Well,
on the subject, you guys, have you guys noticed any Russian or any do we have any members from Moscow at all, or
yes,
we
we have
do?
some Russians. Yep.
Huh. That's cool to know. I'd like to interact with them more. I didn't realize that we did, because Huh.
We are multi-dimensional.
Totally. Definitely. Sure. Yeah, for sure we are. And a lot of them are from Norway, Jane, like we were talking about the other night. I mean, Norway might be they're at least in the top 5, I would say, of the most people from one country. Maybe.
The only countries we do not have representation from as we speak is Bhutan, Laos, Papua New Guinea, I think Liechtenstein, and Estonia in Europe. And I think that there's a few West African nations, and Chad, Niger, and then we've got one South American country not coming to my mind right away. I want to say, yeah, Uruguay or Paraguay, but we're working on that. But other than that, we've got people from every other country that's in the Pleiadian group.
Do we have anyone from Thailand?
From Thailand or Taiwan?
Thailand.
Yes, we do.
I don't know who, but I have seen before. We have a few. Yeah, I've seen a few come across over the months. Yeah.
So here's an idea again. Cough, cough. The Light Grid Project. People doing different things. People who are really good at doing Photoshop and working with Adobe can do a flyer, and you can simply ask. You know, we're not pressuring anybody. We're not a Nigerian scam. Whoever wants to give their email, and then you collate a database of these emails, and then you send this out to them and keep people updated about what's happening. You know, and that would be the start of it, and how to make this a reality. You know, what does everybody want from it? That would be the thing to ask. It all sounds good. We all have ideas of what Woodstock would be, but what would you want Woodstock to be? Maybe that would be a good question to ask on the Woodstock page.
Cough. Thank you, Jason. I will.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. What a perfect page to run it out of. That's a good idea. People don't have to worry about, you know, really giving up their email address to a scam or anything.
And then just asking them, what do you expect from this? What do you want it to be? Because no one wants to go there and just find a bunch of people nude wearing, you know, yellow rain boots and just passing out peanut butter sandwiches. They'd be like, man, this sucks. You know, it's
really neat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, that's it. So, and then you can go home now.
Yeah. Phony and unoriginal. Yeah. Oh God.
We need to post this. I think people have seen it. Much people have seen it, but there is so many people who haven't, and I think they need to be pointed to the direction of the Woodstock site.
They do, and you know what? I'm trying to wonder what else we could do besides, well, like Jason said, letting people know through the grid, but that I would like for more people to see that, but I feel like I'm a kind of a shill if I keep posting the damn thing every day. But I guess we get so many new members and posts in there that, hell, even if I posted it twice a day at different times, it really wouldn't look like overkill. It's just probably my paranoia thinking it.
I mean, can do, you know, a video specifically on that people can click on YouTube and watch it, you know, and you post it at the top and say, must see for new members, or if you want to know this is about, this short video introduction, you know, and you have, you know, the music playing when it starts off, you know, if you're going to Reykjavik, Iceland, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair, you know, and then, like, you know, hello, I'm Larry Locken, and then I'd like to tell you, you know, and then you give the introduction and you break it down, and this is what we're planning to do, and, you know, we're really looking forward to having you be there.
You know, every good idea I get, Jane, I rip off from Jason. I plagiarize from him, and you know what? Now I'm that one too. I'm going to, because I'll tell you what. By tomorrow, Jason, I will have that video whipped out. So thank you, brother. Really, I mean,
hey, what I'm here for, catalyst.
Exactly, and that is a good idea. And I could, you know, I'm not even mad at myself for not thinking about it. I'm just glad that you brought that up, and that's a good idea. And I can pin that to the top of both the light grid and that page, the video, and then put it in Pleiadians. You know, hey, a couple times or once a day at least to remind people. And you know, yeah, that's a good idea.
Is that next year?
Oh,
Right?
come on. We would need, even if everything was in place right now, it would need to take till this. Jason and I had this thing. Maybe summer of 16 or summer of 19. I thought summer of 19. He said 16, and it's like, well, they're up. It could be one or the other because they're inverted. 16 is 19 up.
That was cool.
Yeah, that
we
was really
do that
cool.
every year.
But yeah, when we thought about that, even if we had every single thing in place right now, realistically, it would be 2016. And you know, and things do speed up, so it still could be. I think 16 or 19 is like kind of a luck, either one or the other to look at, you know. And then every 5 years, you know, doing something like that.
But even before that comes about, as I said, we need to send a quote-unquote a scout party. A scout ship needs to go there first just to see the lay of the land and get an idea. You can very, very well organize this, you know, have maps, have a party that greets people at the airport, bus that's rented, you know, they're taking people back and forth to the location. You know, all of this would depend upon volunteerism, and that's what people need to understand. You know, the starseeds here on Earth, we don't got a president or a king that's, you know, giving out orders to people. You know, if you want to do this, you have to jump on board and make it happen. You know, we all have to do this together. It's not one person is saying you go and do this and do that. You know, what can you do? What do you want to do? How do you want to contribute? And so you have people there, you know, greeting the people at the airport, you know, namaste, welcome, we're so happy to see you, you know, bringing them along, you know, having sing-alongs with Larry Locken on the bus all the way to the campsite.
Welcome to the party. I am the lay of the land. Oh, we want to show them the lay of the land. Yes, yes.
So,
lay of the land. Yes.
Hey, why not? I'll go ahead and volunteer my name now. I'll be one of the people to go there and check that out.
As long as you wear a robe and a king, you're the only person wearing a king's crown is you. You can spend the weekend with the host Jason. You can have a robe and a king's hat. Burger King.
Yes, a Burger King hat, and you have to get a King vitamin cereal mask to wear along with it.
All weekend long. Yeah.
Compliments it.
Compliments of Pleiadian Iceland and the holding company or something.
And this Woodstock was brought to you by our Pleiadian allies, Burger King hats, King vitamin cereal, and bottled water, or
bottled water, and for the older people, Boone's Farm Fresh and good old classics night train wine aged for 6 days.
See, Jane, the real reason why we can't have this, you know, next year at 2016 is because Larry, you know, someone is going to be busy planting, you know, something, you know, and he said, you know, I need to make sure my quote-unquote stock and quota is met, you know, so that's it. It's a logistics issue that we're dealing with right now.
Totally. So I said, we'll just flip that up and make it a 19 and push it out a bit. So that's it. So Jane, undertone, American undertone. It's okay, sweetie. You're in a we love you. Be happy. You're sweet and innocent.
I love you, Jane.
I love you.
We love you, sweet Mary.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to baby Jane?
I'm going there before you. I'm going to post some pictures. I'm going there. I'm going to check it out.
You're going to go draw some pictures.
Of Iceland too?
I'm going there and take some pictures and post it on Pleiadians side.
You're gonna go to Iceland, like when though? Like really? You're just gonna go there and take some pictures for us?
Well, how many hours flight is it from Oslo to Reykjavik? How many hours?
I don't know.
That's what I was wondering at the same time, Jason, was how long of a trip it would be over to there. No, I guess Oslo is where you'd fly out of probably.
I mean, let's say we take a sled with snow dogs, and we decide to go over, you know, because that area it's not melting, but it's all ice, right? very, very far north of Norway, Sweden. And we could just go over the Arctic Circle and kind of swing down over the North Atlantic. We may not even have to need to take a plane. I mean, if we're going to want to be adventurous.
Yeah.
I think we're meeting some hardship during this journey.
Such as?
Not enough hot chocolate?
A voracious ocean, for instance.
Is it that cold, though?
Are you going to fly? Are you having wings, or what? Are you going over the sea?
You Scandinavians are tough, though. I used to see some late-night, low-budget movies when I was a kid on HBO that were out of Sweden, and I don't remember what the plots were ever about them, but
Conan.
Yeah, something that was kind of exactly, something that was subtitled. I don't know. But it seemed like they were always swimming with not very many clothes, like at a beach scene or something over there. So, like I said, I can't really remember what the titles were about. They'd come on HBO about 11 or midnight. And
for those listening, don't let your children watch movies like Beastmaster or, this is what happens, Larry, is the product of that.
And some other movies I can't think of. Some subtitled. The headmaster and the secretary or something. I don't know.
The Thigh Master.
And the Thigh Master too was involved.
No, but seriously, Jane, we can't go from Norway to Iceland just by going across the ocean. It doesn't freeze over that far south.
It doesn't freeze over, no. We have the Gulf Stream just outside. It doesn't freeze over, no.
Okay.
That's probably what stops it. That stream. Does some of it? I bet a lot of it is though. Sometimes, huh?
The sea over to Iceland? No.
Could we play one big hockey game out on the? Okay.
But how long would it take to actually tame an orca? An orca whale, and to ride one of those from Norway, because that would be the most grandest interest. Like everyone's there and they're all wondering like, where's Jane? And there you go. You got one of those fur hats on, and everyone's wondering where the hot chocolate is, and here you come on that orca.
Jane should be here anytime with it. She's bringing it over from Norway. It's special.
We start hearing those clicks and whistles in the distance, and Larry's like, wait a minute, is that an orca? And he drops the microphone and what he's doing, and we all go running down the seaside, and you got the harnesses on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could be like, is that an orca? But I think maybe it's Jane, and it is Jane. Wow, what do you think, Jane? That's total Arcturian-esque arrival.
Absolutely, that's a grand entrance.
Yes, on that cold, frigid Nordic Sea.
Oh, not my style. It's too slow.
Autumn wind is
not your style.
No, it's too slow. Everything you're really adventurous, guys. I think you want everything slow.
No. No, we want it all now. I want it to already be done before it ever started. Now.
But please, you got your wishes done. It's really, it has happened.
And until the next one.
That's right.
Still got a little greedy American in me. No, but yes, until the next now moment.
There is a part of you. There is a part of you that's doing that now. As you're thinking.
I'm already chopping down wood in my mind for the bonfire.
I'm already visioning like after dinner and everything, people just relaxing by a fire and kind of doing their thing, and just that kind of wanting that relaxing. I mean, that might be the first time I relax. When that happens in for 10, 15 years that will have relaxed. I mean, I can just vision. That's what I'm kind of visioning about it, and people taking turns. Some people helping out with the kitchen, some people just working together and make sure everything's done quick, and then just relaxing and kind of living and relaxing in that now moment.
If we're really good boys and girls, they might even ask us to stay.
Yes.
Yeah. How about that? And all I can see is Larry hanging in the trees.
Yes.
Yes.
Larry will need a lift to get up into the trees at this point. I don't climb them too well no more, but who knows? Maybe I'll be in such a joyous mood over there with the air, the invigorating air up there. I'll be high as a tree.
No. Trust, Larry is going to be in the shape of his life for Pleiadian Woodstock. Trust me.
Yes.
How? How is that? How do you visualize that? How is it going? Can you describe it, Jason?
Well, you can think of Patrick Swayze.
I would have to start really hit. Yeah, that's true. Mm. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about earlier, Ascension cycle and food and all of that. So, Larry's going to go back and listen to all this, and some of it's going to click, and he's going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm definitely going to be in the shape of my life for Pleiadian Woodstock. Because I have some private conversations with Larry that's not, it's not for your ears, Jane, and it's not for on the air. And yeah, he will be. Trust me.
Yeah, and too, though, really, like, it's not going to take as much work because our body's going through this ascension and eating better and stuff like that. We really... Oh, shut up. My dog's tripping out. Quit barking, Sparky.
See, the dog is like, are you talking crap again?
Yes, my dog is barking. My dog is barking.
Oh, there is a reason to. You need to listen to him.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
What it is.
Shh.
He wants to go to Iceland too.
He wants to go to Iceland.
That's good. That's good. You come. What's his name?
Sparky. Sparky, calm down. Okay, actually, guys, hang on a second. I got company.
Imagine the irony of telling a dog called Sparky to calm down. Yep. Like, sparking a fire and,
Hey, you guys, I will be back.
Yeah, he will be back.
I'll be right back. Shut up, Sparky.
Oh.
I think Sparky is saying, you know what, I mean, this is a great conversation and all, but I'm really hungry, and it's been about 27 hours since I've eaten anything.
I need to go out just to, nature calls. Yeah, I can imagine.
So for you guys, okay, now do you have a Norwegian passport or do you have a European Union passport?
What's that? Yes, of course we have a Norwegian passport.
No, you did not hear that. Actually, now you also can receive what is called an EU passport.
No,
you can have that.
We are not into that.
You're not that far committed into the EU, correct?
We're not. We're not. We're not in EU now. We don't. We have Norwegian passports. Yeah.
Oh, Norway is no longer a member of the EU.
No.
Okay, that's news.
We never were. We have never been.
Okay, that just shows my ignorance on display. For some reason, I was thinking. Okay. So why I was mentioning that is because I believe that Iceland is, correct?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I have to go and check on that because I was just I was just asking for in terms of like for your feasibility of traveling there. It should be quite easy. I mean, being all if you were part of that the EU, but even still, I just think that it shouldn't be that challenging to go from Norway to Iceland. I think it'd be harder for where I'm at in the world, but I still believe that some of us need to go there before we plan all of this, right? And take a look at the ground, see the area, what would be the best place to have this, and then approach town councils and see what kind of permits or warrants we would need to do certain things, like how many people we're going to have there, can we have fires, areas where we would dispose of waste and things like that. And I think with being the level of consciousness that people have, you would have people who would be into recyclable materials and not want a lot of waste and garbage, and just have what would the theme of it be, have different things for different people going on would be great.
Yeah, I totally agree. If it is like I'm not sure of the rules of Iceland and how if we could go there without the passport. I'm not sure. Uh, if it's like England, it would be easy for me because I could go there and apply for work and live there. I don't even need the permission to. I would be treated like a British citizen straight away. It wouldn't be any problem at all. It's just like moving from one city to the other within this country.
Okay, okay.
I don't know if it's that way in Iceland towards us.
But you are definitely feeling and resonating with this idea that that we do need to think of like what's next and how we can get better organized as a group and as a community.
Yes, of course. That's why. That's also why I have been into these videos like Thrive and the new Earth project and posting all the stuff I have been posting also. Um, it's always been there in my thoughts. I want to be I want to be self-sustained. I don't want to have to go to the store and get my uh, vegetables and fruits and all I need. Um, and I want to be able to also give this. I want to, yeah, I definitely see the future as such that we can manage.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And just getting and working together with people who are of like minds and the different things that we can do, because the idea behind the light grid is to offer an alternative to the current grid that is based upon control and fear and greed and mutual distrust, hatred, and then also the things that are not linear